It's Wednesday night, and that means it's time for the Lamar Thomas Show, featuring the greatest receiver in the history of college football. Just ask them, Lamar Thomas.
I was born in Ocala, Florida. I moved to Gainesville to go to high school, being recruited probably since the 9th grade, illegally, I might add, by the University of Florida. I still can remember Coach Solinger, Don Solinger, coming out to our practice one day. Here it is, this guy comes out in the University of Miami jacket, and I said, I can't believe that's Miami out here. And, you know, I wanted to go up and say, hey, I'm Lamar Thomas. And actually, I did walk up to him and I said, hey, Coach, I'm Lamar Thomas. And he said, I know. And that was the start of my relationship with the University of Miami.
Patton, another good block, and Toretto lays it out.
You come down here, you'll be on TV every weekend, dominating. I thought about it. I said, man, where do I sign? My mom, on Saturday mornings, I would wake up and she'd be holding my hand. I thought she was the weirdest lady in the world. But she was holding my hands and she would be rubbing them and saying, one day these hands are gonna make you a lot of money. She was smart.
So now, here he is, the great one, along with co-host Gary Ferman of CaneSort.com, Lamar Thomas.
And there he is.
Here we go, here we go.
The great one. It is Wednesday night, and that means it is time for the Lamar Thomas Show. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSort.com, joining the man himself, LT, Lamar Thomas. And LT,
yeah, we've gotten so much better with our opening, man. I mean, we're like right there now. You remember in the beginning when I didn't sign on for like 20 minutes, and we had to, but now we're good, man.
Just had to figure out the technology, man. Just like the Miami Hurricanes, Lamar had to figure out how to win a football game. 322 days between a victory against the Power 5 opponent and the Canes. They beat NC State on Saturday night at Hard Rock Stadium. Your thoughts on what you saw?
A win is a win, baby. A win is a win. It felt so good, Gary, to walk out of that stadium. Like, there was some down. I've had some down moments walking out of that stadium, you know. Georgia Tech, Michigan State, you know, all these teams come in. You see their fans walking away.
FIU.
Bird. Don't bring that up, bro. Shooting us birds, talking noise, talking trash. I almost got in a fight in the Michigan State game, by the way, after the game. But to walk out of that stadium with a W, our fans, I mean, I know I was excited because it's been so long. And like you said, 300 and some days with a real victory. Not over Central Connecticut Tech, you know what I mean? Not that team, you know. This was a real win against a ranked opponent. And did you see the way those kids were celebrating in the locker room? Some people were a little pissed off about it, saying, oh, they act like they won a championship. Well, you know what? You're not in that freaking locker room. You don't know what it's like to lose games over and over again that you probably should have won, and the feeling of finally getting it done. And you and your brothers, you did this together, and you're excited and happy about it. So, you know what? Celebrate all you want. Hell, get ready for the next game. Carry it over to the next week. But I was happy for those kids, and it was just a great feeling as a fan in front of the 2001 team to be able to walk out of that stadium victorious.
So, Lamar, tell us where you are tnight. Sounds like you got the usual party going on there.
Man, there's ruckus over here, man. This plantation. This is Bo Campus. This is off of Pine Island. It is, thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Got them wings. Got those wings. The signature Bo Camper wings. Thank you, my brother. All right, little man. Hey, by the way, shout out to my daddy. I can't eat him on screen. He said it's distracting, so we'll just put him over there and we'll box him up a little later. But man, it's a great restaurant. Come on down here. It's open. They got all the games. They got a bunch of TVs. OJ McDuffie's up above me. My old Penn State buddy that we kicked that butt. Great place, man. Come on down here. All over the place. They got a bunch of boat campers. No telling where I'll be.
So Boat Campers is obviously back again this week as a sponsor along with all teams. And Lamar, we have a new sponsor this week, Advanced Insurance and Financial.
That's right. I mean, do I get into my whole thing right now? You want to put it up on the screen?
We could save it for a few minutes.
Oh, we can save it. Okay, all right.
Figure we'd give him a little shout out,
My main man, Ryan Collins. Ryan Collins is an insurance company, man. So he liked the show. He missed the show because he was a little tired, but we forgive him for missing the show. But he'll be on eventually at one point. But he said, "Hey, man, I want to sponsor your show too." So shouts out to Ryan Collins.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So we talked about the victory. 322 days between wins against a Power 5 opponent. But Lamar, I got to ask you about something. The fans on the message boards at CaneSort.com. There's a pretty good percentage of fans that weren't so thrilled to see a victory. I mean, Lamar, I've never seen this before. I mean, they had a poll, and about 45% of the fans said they wanted Miami to lose because it would assure that there would be a coaching change at the end of the season. Now, you've been out there as a coach. You've been out there as a player. Tell us your opinion just on that dynamic.
I mean, do you know that for sure? That's the question I'm asking these guys. Do you know that for sure? Look, bottom line is we want to see this team be able to conquer some of the unfortunate things, the shortcomings that they've had. How about that? And regardless who's the coach, I'm always pull for my school unless I'm coaching against them, I might add. But I'm going to pull for them. And you know what? I was happy for the program. I was happy for the people, the real fans. I was happy. Most importantly, I was happy for those kids and that coaching staff. That whole, because it's been a long time and they've been getting beat up. I mean, they've been getting drugged through the mud. If you're an assistant coach and every day you got to hear somebody talk about who's going to be the new coach, it plays on you, and you're trying to do your job to get these guys to play. I get it. You want them to lose because you don't want Manny in there. I understand that. But it's about the kids and it's about the program, man. We got to win games. And, if he's able to win some games along the way, so be it. If he loses all of them, then so be it too. We'll make that decision. But what I want to know, if those fans that are saying they hope we lost, does it really ensure him being fired if we lose in North Carolina State? Because we could lose in North Carolina State, he come back and he win the rest of the games, but we lost in North Carolina State. And if you were there, like I was, to walk out of that stadium and see joy for first time in a long time, you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do, Lamar. And I think this is a great time to bring in our voice of the fan, Bruce Warner. He's the representative of the fans, Lamar. And Bruce, how do you wrap your arms around this whole notion of 45% of the fans, which, I think we have a representative cross-section that are voting. 45% of the fans want Miami to lose because they feel it will assure a coaching change?
Well, I don't know what the real percentage is, guys, but I understand it. But it's not about the school and it's not about the players. It's only about Manny. It could be about the staff, but it's really only about Manny. And Blake James, he's part of it too. He's made himself part of it, especially after when he pulled last week. I heard you guys talking about it last night on CaneSort Live. Wow, what a boo-boo that was.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That didn't help. And that didn't help anybody's perception that if he stays, he's going to get the next one right. That's the scary part. That's really what scares most people, is that he may make another choice. Listen, if you're asking me,
Blake James isn't making another choice.
Right. He's not making another choice. He's not making any more choices.
That again, Bruce. Yeah. No chance.
No chance.
But now, LT, Somebody asked me this question last night on CaneSort Live, and I said,
right.
I can't answer that. I got to bring that one to LT
All right, let's
tomorrow
go.
night. They asked me if the players, deep down, when they're losing and they're not competitive and things aren't going well, do the players start wanting a coaching change? And I mean, I couldn't even begin to imagine that, but I couldn't answer it either. You were a player. You've been on good teams. You've been on bad teams. You've been on teams in the middle. Do the players themselves think like the fans?
That's a hard one. I wasn't a loser. I was with the Yuccaneers. We weren't saying get rid of Sam. I mean, it was just, we were losing. And one thing I can say about Manny was raised as a politician. So I'm pretty sure he knows how to convince those kids that he's the right guy. And I think that's what's going on. You look at the love that they're trying to show their coach after the game, saying, screw you, the media. You're the reason why we went out and kicked their butt because we couldn't stand you talking about our coach.
Yeah, I haven't seen any signs at all of that. And we're out there quite often, obviously.
Right.
Put yourself back to Lamar Thomas, the 18-year-old, 18, 19, 20. Those kids, they believe in their coaches. Like, their coaches are father figures to them. It's hard to reconcile that falling apart, even just from losing a few games.
Yeah, especially when the excitement of, what he brings from the offseason. The offseason, they're just, there's so much excitement coming out of the program. Everybody's all geeked up. We ranked in the top 10 or 15. I don't even know. But, those kids, they feed off of that. Now, it didn't work out. We had some issues, whether it was offensive line, quarterback going down, playing a better program, the first game, getting beat up, not executing. It's been a long year, and it's not even over. But as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, I couldn't even, unless the coach was just a bad person, I can't see those kids going in there saying, we want somebody new, because you never know about that new guy. You just never know. Dennis Harrison comes in after Jimmy. I wanted to leave before I even got to know the guy, and he ended up being a true father figure to me to this day. You just don't know. So, for those kids, man, and Jimmy would have been somewhat of a father figure. Hell, I had him the first year in college, and I had him 4 years in the NFL, 5 years in the NFL. So I got to know him very well. The same, but you just don't know with those 18, 19, 20. Now, the little mature kids, they're on the way out. But actually, you got 23-year-old guys.
Yeah, you got some
extra year. You got the old guys, like we're at BYU or something. So they're making a much more a mature choice. They're already on the way out, and they're gonna tell it like it is, because they know you can't really do anything to me. I'm going anyway, and a lot of those guys, they're gonna tell it just like it is. Hey, this guy's not good for the program, or we love playing for this guy. We wish it could have been better.
Yeah, I've seen zero signs that they're not. I see a team that's playing extremely hard for Manny, that is not giving up, is not folding 10. They're getting better right now, it seems like, progressively each week. And they seem entirely invested in what they're doing out there. And I think that's a credit to them, because they did have a sequence of real disappointments. Lenoris Murray here, one of our viewers, says if you're a true Canes fan, you're throwing those hands up. No way in heck are you not cheering for your team. And I think that's what you would expect a typical fan to think. But this year has been a little different, and so you do get a variety of opinions. Canes for Life here says it doesn't matter if the Canes win out or not. A nuclear reboot is the only option at this point.
I agree.
And I think a lot of people will agree with that, whether they're, cheering for wins or not cheering for wins. And I still believe the majority, and it is 55-45 majority based on who voted in the poll that was on the message board. But I think more than that are really cheering for a victory.
I mean, if you're a true Hurricane fan, and I'm sure my man is right here, yeah, you want to reboot, but come on, man. I mean, you had to feel good about winning the ball game. It's been so damn long, man. It's been forever. And to walk out of the stadium, and I look back on it now, all those long walks to the car where you got your head down and you're looking across and you're seeing people from freaking Georgia Tech. You're seeing people from Virginia that probably went to Virginia, and scholars and all these people, and they're excited and they don't even know what the hell's going on. They just came on a vacation. And they're excited about beating the University of Miami in Hard Rock Stadium. I just felt good. I mean, regardless of who I want for coach or this guy or that guy or Manny stays, I still enjoyed the fact that we won a ball game, and I felt good about it.
And Gary talks about improvement. Look at the quarterback, Tyler Van Dyke. Look where he's gone the last couple of games. And you know what he is? He's a hard ass, and the players are busting their ass for him because he's willing to take shots. He's tough. I like that kid. I mean, he's not where he should be yet, but you could see his progression and how he's getting much calmer. He knows what he's doing a lot easier.
Well, the fact that he came out and said,
yeah, we're going to score 40 on him.
Yeah, we're going to score 40 on him. I mean, you got to jump on board with a guy like that, or you beat his ass in the locker room. I don't know, but I mean, hey, I like the kid, man. Everybody's on. Jake Garcia. They're saying that, but you know what? He's not playing right now. I'm riding with this kid. I love what I see. The improvement. Finally was able to put together a good game and go down and win the ball game. I think that's the type of improvement after 2 letdowns, because it could have gone the other way. It could have gone, and for those fans that want Manny to be out of there and they want to lose games, it could have gone the other way. But this kid is mentally tough, and I think those kids are rallying around him, and that's a great thing. You love to see that.
But Manny told him, cut the predictions this week. He didn't want to hear any more predictions this week before he came and talked to the media. He said, watch what you say, Tyler. Charleston Rambo is going to be joining us in a few minutes, and we can get the players' perspective on backing up their quarterback. And that was a big theme this week, guys. The players kind of rallied behind Tyler Van Dyke's prediction, and they wanted to help him perform and put up. So we'll talk about with Rambo about that in a few minutes. But Lamar, we're starting to see coaches get fired all around college football earlier than we've ever seen before. And obviously some people are saying that they would like to see Manny have that faith. The university is showing no interest in that. What do you think about firing head football coaches in early to mid-October and now getting into the third week of October?
I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, yeah, you fire a guy and now you have a guy that takes over and, it's like dead man walking. He's trying to change it overnight. He's trying to change the culture, bringing in his own philosophies. And, it's like just waiting to the off season to figure out who's going to be the new guy, or just like we had before. You remember when what was the tight ends coach? He was the head coach for us, and he won the Duke game. I can't think of his name right now, but we won the Duke game on the 18 laterals, and he was coaching. Those kids, they played hard for him.
Golden? You mean Golden?
No, not Al. Please don't bring up Golden Shower.
Mark Richt.
No, it was the tight end coach who's now coaching at Howard University. Come on, man. We ain't had that many black coaches.
Oh.
And he was the head coach. See, you don't even remember. There you go. Hey, I'm not even going to bring that up. But listen, right now, I got to give a shout out to, I got to give a shout out to my daughters, Parker, Logan, and Blake. Hello, Daddy loves you. Go to bed. Go to bed. Daddy daycare transportation is offline right now, okay? Go to bed. Go to bed.
That's no lie either, man. That's how you spend your days, man. You're definitely a Father of the Year candidate, no doubt. doing
God.
that daddy daycare thing every day.
Oh my God.
I bet your wife will so appreciate you.
Whew, it's brutal, man. It is brutal. They are getting to me. But they love the you. They love the you. They the you, oh the you, daddy, the you. They love the you. So I'm reading some of these comments you throwing up there, and a lot of these people have some really, really. It was Larry Scott. Thank you, Jay Will,
Oh,
and
Larry
all
Scott.
the rest of you guys. Yeah, see how you, Bruce. Come on, man. You got to know Larry Scott. But the thing I was saying was, you see how those kids rallied around Larry, won the game. And a lot of them wanted Larry to be the coach. You know, it's a hard situation because if the guy succeeds and wins games out, the kids are praying for this guy, and, you know, or if the guy loses, you got two head coaches you got to fire because everybody's gone, and you got to bring in the new guy. It's a hard one, man. I
Yeah.
feel for those programs. I really do.
Gary said that Blake will not be involved in the decision, and neither will these players. They'll have nothing to do with it. This is not like Coker or whatever happened back after Bush left. It ain't happening. This is going to be totally different.
Yeah, this show is going to be run by the president's office. I'm not saying Blake will or will not have input. It'll depend on where he stands as athletic director. But I think the overall decisions and everything are going to be run by the president's office this time.
Gary, do you think if they don't get Alonzo that Blake is a lot safer? Or one's got nothing to do with the other?
I don't think that's relevant. I think if they want Alonzo in a role, they will get Alonzo in a role. I think they first got to figure out the athletic director part of the equation. I've heard some people, guys, mention to me that they think Alonzo should be an athletic director candidate at Miami. How about that? It seems unconventional, and it would be. But, you know, there is a thought that Alonzo could be the athletic director with some very good administrators underneath him, no different than a head coach, CEO, who has good coordinators underneath him.
Just keep him away from like the administrative stuff and let the staff underneath do it. Let him just strictly deal with football operations and the recruiting office too, because he needs to fix that.
Not just football, Bruce. I mean, a guy like that's going to inspire everybody throughout the building. I mean, their marketing department could use a little, shot up the butt. To be honest with you, that entire building could use a little bit of Alonzo Highsmith sense of urgency mindset, quite frankly. All right, we're going to have Rambo in a minute, guys. So I wanted to throw this out to you. I was watching that game, and I thought that the biggest reason that the Miami offense looked like it did on Saturday night, really the best that it has the whole season, was because Rhett Lashley had defined playmakers. He had a quarterback that he was turning loose. I mean, he was more aggressive than he had been at any other point this season. He had a running back in Jalen Knighton that he was using as a true run-pass threat. Gave him 20 carries as a running back and threw it to him, I think, like 6 times. And Knighton is a big factor coming out of the backfield. And then he had a wide receiver that he was going to down the field, Lamar, the way the old school Canes used to go to Andre Johnson and Lamar Thomas and Randall Hill. They were attacking down the football field with a quarterback that had the arm to do it. And they were aggressive. And we hadn't seen that the whole year to that degree. And I thought that that's why they were successful.
Yeah, 100%, Gary. Things look really, really good. I mean, it's almost like it came together. And, the fact that, the quarterback was playing a hell of a game, throwing it to the running back and giving him 20 carries. He's a threat to go all the way at any point. You're throwing it to your tight ends. You found your tight ends again. We talked about that earlier in the previous weeks, about not throwing to the tight ends. Or if you did target those tight ends, it wasn't a completion. So they kind of shied away from it. Came back to the tight ends, and the presence of a deep threat, the presence of a downfield playmaker, like you said with Rambo, was great to watch, because we've seen it in Spurs, obviously, and you can't go by the Connecticut State Tech game. You got to throw that one out. But the games we really needed, man, it wasn't there. It really wasn't there. So all that was really, really good to watch. And, to see our offense prosper and to win a game on that side of the ball, and to see a quarterback continue to mature and to get better, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe the scapegoat should be Lashley and not Diaz. I'm just throwing that out there. But he's called him much now. He's obviously has more confidence with Van Dyke because he's seen how he's doing in the games and in practice. He's picking it up better. So you can open it up a lot more. But I told you guys for a month now, get the ball in space to the Rooster. And he's a mismatch. No linebacker could stay with him. That's for sure.
And Charleston Rambo is a kid that came here from Oklahoma.
Yep.
To be on that type of stage. It's like, come to Miami and we will build a large segment of the passing game around your skills. And Lamar, when you watch him perform like he did the other night, you do see that this is a kid with some NFL level talent.
Yeah, you do see that. You just, like you said, one of the questions I want to ask him is why? Why Miami? There are other places you probably could have gone, but why Miami? And the fact that, he's come here and he's embraced it, kind of like KJ Osborne the last year or so, come here and have come from other programs and tried and stepped up to the forefront to be a leader or a playmaker. It's great to see. You kind of wish, though, the guys that are in the program will learn from those guys and continue to get better so we won't have other guys transferring in to me, because when you transfer in, you're bringing – luckily, he was coming from a good program. But when you transfer in, you're running from something or you're bringing baggage in. Sometimes you're bringing not so good baggage in. And I'm just happy to see that the last two guys that we've had that have been good transfers, like KJ Osborne, they actually taught those guys something. And Rambo seems like he's doing the same thing and bringing other guys along with him.
Yeah, and we could ask him about those young kids because I'm curious to see what his opinion is of those kids.
Yeah.
He had 9 catches for 127 yards, and everyone was going, wow, wow, wow. Rambo's like, hey, man, I came from Oklahoma. The receivers get 9 catches for 127 yards every week. At Oklahoma, this isn't that big a deal. And he's ready for more.
Oh yeah, hey, you had a great game on a big spotlight stage. It can only make your confidence even be better, and hopefully, it's going to bring along other guys, and that's the most important thing. You can bring along some other guys, man. Other guys say, okay, you know what? I see what this guy's doing. Let me try to figure it out. And you got to give kudos to Rob Likens too. Here it is, beginning of the season. A lot of people are on receivers. They're starting to step up now, and he's doing a good job.
One of the things that you noticed, Gary, right away in Lamar is his ability to fight for the ball. That's mine.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen that, especially with the two guys that just went into the portal. That's missing. And as the coach of the wide receivers, Lamar, this kid is a perfect example of what you need to do when you're a young kid to get better.
Yeah, you want guys that are going to be out there and be aggressive because, the day's game is going to 50-50 balls sometimes, a lot. And if you're not aggressive, you're not going to – it's going to be an incompletion. The guy's going to intercept it. I've always taught to have my guys to be aggressive, react before they react, so you get something out of it, whether you get the catch or you get the pass interference, come back to the ball, make those guys have to defend you. And I think, again, I was around Coach Likens, Rob Likens. I listened to his philosophy, and he's been in the game a long time, and he's a really good receiver coach. And, those guys are starting to play like it now, and that's kudos to him and that offensive staff.
Lamar, you made an interesting point about the transfer portal a second ago, that you would like to see them not have to go to the portal to go get their best receiver on the team, to start developing that through the pipeline. But these are different times, and a lot of the fans, we've been talking about the quarterback situation too, and like teams like LSU with Joe Burrow and stuff, they went into the transfer portal and they got their quarterback. So for Miami to go into the transfer portal and get Charleston Rambo this year, who brings the skills to the table that he can go out against NC State and catch 9 balls for 127 yards and stretch the field the way he did and the way he can, I think is like the new way in college football. And with that said, I'm going to bring him on the show right now. There he is, the man of the hour, Charleston Rambo.
There he is.
Charleston, welcome to the Lamar Thomas Show. The first question, I think, is, do you know who Lamar Thomas is?
Oh, yes, sir. Most definitely.
Hey, man, Lamar was Rambo before Rambo.
Oh, my bad.
Hey, you ain't got to lie, man. Whoa. You ain't got to lie, dog.
Yes, sir. I know who that is.
All right. You ever see him take his helmet off, like after every catch? You guys can't do that anymore. You know why you can't do that anymore? Because of him.
How you doing, Mr. Rambo? Great game, by the way. Enjoyed watching you play. The question I have for you before we even get it going, why Miami? Why Miami? Why did you transfer here to Miami?
Just knowing the good history here and the players that come in and out of here make plays, and knowing the ability, the players at QB like King and Harley at receiver, Bubba at DB, hitting my line, wanted me here. So, the love and, obviously coming here and just working. No other place I thought, it was more places on my mind, but the U was where my heart was at.
How different is it from Oklahoma? I'm not saying wins and losses or scoring every 5 seconds, but how different is it? The practices, you're going against the DBs. Are you learning anything different by being here? Because you're obviously better this year than you were last year, and you'll be the first to admit that.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. Just having the old players here and their what they want us to do on the field and what we want to do in our mind, just all come together at practice, and we just need to show that on Saturday.
Yeah, that's a big game.
Yes, sir.
LT, what have you seen from Charleston so far this season? What are your thoughts on his game?
Well, one of the things I wanted to ask you too is you're on the right side a lot.
Yeah.
Do you guys switch sides, or why are you? What is?
We got formation. I can switch, go left side, slide, left, outside. But it's just whatever defense give us, we're gonna take control of that and eliminate anything else outside of what we got going in our game plan.
Yeah, that's big.
Coach Likens, we were talking about you, man. He enjoys coaching. He said you step up. You're a tough kid. Step up to the plate. You have a son.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. My junior, Charleston Rambo II.
Yeah, and he told me that. You play for him, huh? You play for your son. You play for your kid.
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
Hey, you got one guy, Richard Hill. Rambo, thanks for coming to the U. So that's from one of our guys, Richard Hill, who comments every week. He's a great guy and a big Cane fan. So he welcomes you, even though you're halfway done with the season already.
Yes, sir.
What about blocking?
Here.
What about we all know Lamar can tell you to get up to the next level, you got to block. How's your blocking?
My blocking, it's there. Obviously, we got crack blocks put in the play game plan, and when the play is called, I'm there. So big body. I'm gonna get.
Yeah, you are big. You're bigger than Lamar when he was at the U. Right, Lamar? So was Gary, and so am I.
Yeah.
These guys like crack joke. Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, Charleston, I was talking, in the press conference on Saturday night, I talked to you about this a little bit. You came here for the stage. You came here to build a resume. That's why you went in the transfer portal. That's why you picked Miami. And it's such a credit to you guys. And we've been talking about it earlier in the show. The way that you guys have hung in there through adversity. You haven't let it divide you guys. We do blogs at CaneSort with Mike Harley and Tyreek. So we talk about this kind of stuff every week. But you guys haven't let this divide the locker room. You guys haven't let this point fingers. And you had being a human being, probably a little frustrated at midseason that you weren't having more of these 9-catch, 127-yard games. But then you go out there on a national stage on Saturday night on national TV, and you got it done. And I just think it's a credit to you guys for hanging in there.
Yes, sir. More to come.
Ooh. Is that a prediction?
Most definitely.
Because I know everybody's lips are sealed now for last week, but hey, good luck, man. Really.
Well, speaking of which, Tyler Van Dyke made that prediction last week that you guys were going to put a lot of points up on NC State, and actually was talking to Harley about this earlier this week. That it kind of made the receiver room want to line up behind him a little bit and have his back and make big plays, so that you guys did put a lot of points up, and they weren't sitting there saying Tyler Van Dyke was blowing a bunch of smoke. Talk a little bit about a teammate laying the gauntlet out like that, and then you guys as his teammates having his back and standing behind them.
Just obviously having Tyler at quarterback is big because we know he's competitive. We see it at practice. He want to make throws. He want to make these different runs, and obviously he put on film that he can run. So we love what Tyler got going and his leadership and his confidence going forward.
Yeah, he's a tough kid.
Yeah, he's tough.
He's proven how tough he is. I mentioned that before, how tough he is. He's tough. He's not afraid of anything. He's a good.
Nah, he doesn't talk much. He's tough.
You can tell he's getting more comfortable, right?
Yes, sir. Most definitely. We see it in his throws on the field and what he's obviously saying in the locker room.
Right. I don't know if you can answer this, or you should be able to answer this. Why were you guys up until this last game so slow coming out of the gate? Do you have an answer to that?
It's just our game plan. We just need to just execute our plays better. Obviously we probably might be short on a route, or somebody didn't go through the different protection. So just be better at our execution.
Okay.
When you go to practice every day, in your mind as a receiver, obviously you want to catch as many passes as you can, right? And when you walk off that field and you've caught, 10, 11, 12 balls, you got to think that's not enough. So you definitely go over to that judge machine. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
Okay,
every day.
All right.
We can judge every day.
I got to make sure, dog, because,
Yeah,
hey,
most
man, listen,
definitely.
you can't, even if you have a career day in practice, it still ain't enough. It still ain't enough. You got to catch 100, maybe 150 that day to make you feel like, you know what, I've done my job. I've gotten better today, and, when you, as a receiver, when you're out there every day, you're trying to figure out how can I get better? What are some of the drills you like when you're in practice, or what are some of the things you do to kind of get yourself going in practice, or to get yourself to feel like, hey, I'm going to get better today?
When I get there, a good stretch with I'm not even know how to describe the pad, but it's something you put on the foot and like stretch your leg out, and then over the head, shoulder catches, any balls thrown like out of my reach. So that's a good one to wake up my arms or something. But it's a lot of different things that wake me up at practice.
Good.
Hey, Charleston, Sadrach Doris, one of our viewers, is asking what young receivers you see coming up as playmakers outside of yourself for the future. You guys got a lot of talented freshmen on this team, a whole lineup of young receivers that are trying to become what you are right now. What are you seeing from the young kids on this team?
They all show heart, grit. They make plays at practice, competitive. Those guys, the receiver, the young guys, they're going to be a good group. So Brinson, Brashad, Arroyo, Jacoby George, they all make plays at practice and just put things on tape at practice, let us know like they can be a star one day.
What do you think of the one-handed catch that Brinson made a couple weeks ago?
Oh, yeah. He hard for that. That was a good play. But I've seen him make plays like that before.
And he keeps telling you how good it was, wasn't he? Doesn't he?
Yeah, he bring it up, but it's there. We know what he can do, and he know what he can do, and we put that in the past. We just move on from that.
Hey, Rambo, question for you: were you nervous when your thought process of coming into a new place and you got 1 year, or how many years you got? How many years you got to go?
COVID, so too, but yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, get going.
Okay, but were you nervous? I'm putting it out there. I'm just saying. I'm sorry. were you nervous just coming into a new, you know how it was when you were a freshman going to Oklahoma, you were nervous. You know how that is. Now you come to a new spot, you're trying to, I want to say not impress, but you're trying to show these people that, hey man, I'm worth my weight. And I mean, how was that feeling, or how was that transition coming from Oklahoma to the University of Miami?
You said was I scared or something? Nah, I
No,
don't.
not scared. I ain't say scared.
Nah, I don't fear
I said, were
nothing.
you
I don't
nervous?
fear
You know, you
nothing.
have the nerve.
Nervous.
You have the nervous feeling of meeting new people, being around
Oh
new
yeah,
guys,
yeah.
and you
I
don't
mean,
know how they're going to react to you. You don't know how the coach is going to treat you, because we all know coaches will tell you one thing on the phone, but when they get you in person, you know how it goes.
yeah. Well, this player on the team hit me up and was just wanting me here. So I mean, I feel like it was a good place to go to. You know, team comeback, seniors, leadership. So I mean, good program and the history. So I mean, just come here, work, and I know the receiver I am in my mindset. So you know, it is at the end of the day, and yeah. So
Now, Lamar, you coached a big receiver like Charleston Rambo at the University of Louisville 2 years back, and Devontae Parker was in your receiver room. Very similar game to what Charleston Rambo has, Lamar. And what type of advice can you give Charleston? Wisdom can you impart as he goes through these next few months of finishing this season, and then he's got to make a decision: am I ready to go into the NFL draft, or do I come back for one more year? He just told us what he would like to do. What wisdom could you impart? I mean, Devontae Parker was first-round draft pick of the Miami Dolphins.
Well, the most important thing is to stay aggressive. You know, you got to be aggressive out there. That ball's in the air. You got to know that you don't know how many chances you're going to get. So you got to react before that defender reacts, and just stay aggressive. One of the things Devontae Parker was able to do in college, his catch radius was crazy. And it's kind of like what you were saying about balls every which way. You got to be able to make those catches. But he practiced those catches all the time, whether it was low balls, and it made that quarterback feel a sense of confidence going to him, because he knew that he was going to give everything he had to catch that football. And that's one of the things that made that kid great coming out of college and made him a first rounder. So, you know, I see a lot in your game as far as some of the similarities, but you got to continue to stay aggressive. And when you get those one-on-one shots, you got to make it happen no matter what. And I'm sure Coach Likens is telling you that. He's coached some great ones too. And you just got to continue to get better. Every day when you leave that practice field, you got to say to yourself, I got better today. If you don't, you're cheating yourself, because somebody around the country has gotten better that day.
And, you know, one of the things that I saw on Saturday night was really, for one of the first times this season, Charleston, is you guys came into that game with defined playmakers. Your quarterback was going to attack down the field. He was going to be aggressive. The play calls were aggressive. Your running back, Rooster, he was going to be a run-pass threat, both running the ball and catching the ball out of the backfield. And you were going to be a go-to guy at receiver. You were going to be a number one receiver Saturday night. You got the opportunity, and you delivered. As a player, how much better did that make you, feeling that sense of, I'm the guy tonight, this ball's coming to me, and I'm going to make plays?
Regardless, every route I run, I feel like the ball is coming my way. So it's just my mindset and how our other receivers' mindset should be as well, as we talked about it, like Lamar said, with Coach Likens. So it's just a mindset.
I like it, man. I tell you, man, I'm excited. And we saw you guys celebrating in that locker room. And, you know, some people are like, oh, they just won a game. Hell, you know what? Celebrate on, baby.
Yeah.
Carry it on the next week. That's a good thing. You guys won a hard-fought game over a good football team that was ranked highly. You know what? Continue it, brother. Pass it on to the rest of those guys and carry this thing over so we can get this win against Pitt. So don't worry about the outside noise. Only worry about the inside noise that you got with your team.
100.
Good advice.
Now, Charleston, how about the quarterbacks? You start the year with De'Ara King, and I imagine De'Ara King is a big part of the reason you came to Miami, right?
Yes, sir.
You guys knew each other, from what I remember, correct?
Yeah, that's my boy.
Yeah, so he played a part in bringing you here, and then he goes down early in the season. What was going through your mind at that point?
No panic. So I wasn't just fearing nothing, but obviously next man up and whoever at quarterback, I'm gonna be the same receiver I was for King, and I'm gonna get open for you and just be better for you. So going from there.
And then, of course, you had Tyler Van Dyke and Jake Garcia competing with each other. Tell us the receivers' viewpoint of those two guys.
Of Tyler and Jake,
Yeah.
just knowing both of those guys can throw. I played with both of those guys in spring while King was rehabbing and coming off his injury. So, I mean, we had chemistry. So, I mean, just them coming in there on Saturday and being quarterback for the team.
And then, of course, Tyler is showing week-to-week progression. How much better is he today than maybe he was 3 weeks ago?
Much better. I mean, the team feel him. He feel the team. And we building off Tyler. Tyler being the guy for us. And, I mean, he just needs to keep being him. And we be better for him as the road go on.
I'm sure after this past weekend's games, you guys have to have a lot of confidence in him now. The level of confidence has gone way up in the last few weeks.
We had confidence before that, so I mean, confidence is still there through the roof with the L or with the W. But we know who Tyler is, and Tyler know what he can do.
Hey Rambo, one more question before you go, man. And it's just a personal question. Is my picture still up in that room up there?
No, it might be.
It's up there. This is a number 36.
So, yeah.
You got to look at it and say, man, what the hell that dude doing up there with the number 36 on? That's me, dog.
Yeah,
That's me.
It's
up there. It's up there. So when you see it, man, send me a message. Say, yeah, it's up here. All
For
right?
sure, I'm going to tap in.
All right.
Nobody covered it up yet, huh?
Nah, it ain't covered up.
They didn't put a Charleston Rambo poster over Lamar's picture.
Hey, you next, baby. You next. You next.
Maybe if you get 9 catches this Saturday, then we'll see. But
Yeah.
man.
Let's go for 10.
Yeah, let's go for 12.
What does Pittsburgh look like, Charleston? What do we got? What do you got this weekend? What's Pittsburgh defense look like?
I mean, press corners, cover 4, man. We see the game plan, and we just need to execute. And I mean, Tyler, let's get right. But I don't know what about the temperature looking like, because that's what that is. Pittsburgh.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
what is like in Pitt?
It's going to be like 50, 55 maybe. It might be rainy.
Yeah, it feel good. Yeah, we coming out there sleeveless.
Oh.
They did that a few years ago. They had no shirts on before it was like 20 degrees.
Yeah, that's good weather. That's some good weather. So.
I
like
think
that
we won that
attitude.
game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like the attitude.
Yeah.
But man, we sure appreciate you being on the show, man. And I'm a big fan, just like a lot of the alumni. You keep doing it, keep getting those guys going, continue to make plays, and let's try to string together some wins, and keep celebrating in the locker room. How about that?
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
But don't take your helmet off. Don't take your helmet off the way Lamar used to. They'll give you a 15-yard penalty.
Nah.
You'll have to do extra running at practice.
Nah.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I really appreciate you, man.
Thanks
Good luck.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you. Thank you, Charleston. Great seeing you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Continued
Thank you.
success.
All right.
Bye-bye.
He's good.
I like that kid, man. I
He
wish
is
he was
good,
going to be
though.
here for more than 1 year,
Well, you heard what he said. I think he's out the door.
Hopefully he can pass it.
Yeah.
You know, when Lamar, he said he had a bad year last year, but Rattler was a first-time quarterback. He was inconsistent. I don't necessarily. You can't look at Rambo and say he had a bad year. He didn't have a bad year. He had nobody throwing the ball like Kyler Murray before. Now look where he's got now. He had King. Now he's got Van Dyke. He's making great plays again. All of a sudden, he's not dropping balls. So and they also have a lot of wide receivers and a lot of weapons.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you come to this program and he was able to get here and somehow put something good on the field where those guys, and I'm pretty sure that that when they came in, those other guys wanted to see what he was all about. And he was able to show them something for those coaches to believe in him and put him to the forefront, because that's when you come to a different place, unless you're really, really down, which I don't think they're really, really down, but he comes in here and he becomes a starter immediately. It says a lot. It says a lot about what he had to bring to the table or what we had available at the times and how they didn't feel comfortable with those younger guys who are coming along. And we've seen them. They got a great chance to play against, again, Central Connecticut Tech. They got a great chance to play against those guys, and they've played throughout the year, so they've gotten some experience, and that's real big. And they've gotten a chance to see another guy do some great things like Rambo.
Yeah, and I was like thinking to myself, why is he coming here? Why is he leaving Oklahoma? They're a passing machine. So he had a somewhat down here. Why is he coming here? Is he damaged goods? Is he a troublemaker? But he's not. But maybe just a change of scenery. Or De'Aaron King. But it seems like King was the real reason.
Yeah, De'Aaron King, was a big part of it. And coming here, the idea was this is a chance for him to be a number one receiver. At Oklahoma, they got 5 Charleston Rambos.
Yes, I know.
At Miami, they haven't recruited as well as Oklahoma has. And he didn't have the greatest season last year, and he wasn't getting to showcase himself the way he wanted to. And that's why he came here. Lamar. Well, first I want to point out that orange and green blood here says that somebody drew a mustache on your picture in the wide receiver room.
They probably did because I didn't have a mustache back then. Now I got a mustache, No, it's up there. It's still up there.
It's all good if they did, right? But no. So here's my question. Okay, he obviously has a preconceived idea in his mind. I'm going to the NFL draft in April. Okay, I don't know. And I would have to do some inquiring on this. I don't know that he's put up first round, second round performances yet. You can comment better on that. But does a player he has the option of coming back one more year? Does a player like Rambo make a mistake sometimes in making that decision before things unfold?
Yeah, we've seen it happen. At the University of Miami over the last couple of years, guys not staying in school and leaving too early. So with that being said, man, they cater to me around here, man. They are good people around here. With that being said, these guys, they think that, if it doesn't work out, I can get on the practice squad, or I can go in the late rounds, and it's hard to make that thing, man. And that's what a lot of them don't understand. They just want to, and the money's good. The money's good. Oh, hold on. Shout out to my man, Alex Miller, right there. That's my man. He was at King Run. He was the golf pro over there, one of the golf pros over there. He took care of me. That's my guy, man. We play golf all the time. Appreciate the shout out. Shout out to my sister. It's her birthday. She over there in Turkey. Yeah, she over there in Turkey winning championships. That's what she doing. Jessica Thomas, happy birthday, my little chocolate gumdrop. And shout out to my people in Boynton Beach, because they've been watching the show. My assistant coaches Skillet and Amp, they watch the show all the time. And of course, the assistant principal, Lenny Clemens, who helped me get Lamar Jackson. Shout out to my people in Boynton. I gotta give a shout out.
How about the guy that washes your car? How about the guy that washed your? You didn't put his name out here.
No. He did a bad job the other day.
Anybody else? Anybody else?
They'll keep texting me. I'm giving shots out tonight. We're giving shots out to everybody. Shout out to Bruce Warner. Shout out to Gary Ferman for having me on the show.
It'll work.
So, but just to finish that thought, Lamar. So we can't really come to a verdict right now, right?
No, not yet.
And that's what I'm kind of getting at.
Yeah.
Is he making a mistake coming to that verdict himself right now?
Well, I think in his mind right now, he's saying, hey, I'm on the road. I'm going to keep riding this. And hopefully it continues. And if he does keep riding it, next four games, sky's the limit, right? You get into a bowl game, you get into, who knows? He has a great skill set. He has some good things going for him. And he's put up some numbers at Oklahoma. So they'll take all that film, all that piece of work, and put it together, and they'll say, is this kid worth it? But if he'll help his cause if he continues over these next couple of weeks to continue to have performances like he had last week.
I think Gary's point, Earl, I'm looking at it like if he has his mind made up and they tell him he's not going in the first 2 or 3 rounds, is his mind made up and that's the end of it? Because we've seen guys that have come out early and said, I think we're going to leave, and they're advised not to, and they go anyway. So I think that's my question to you. Would you listen, or would you say, listen, my mind's made up, I'm getting the hell out of here?
Hey man, you can't judge a man on his pockets. You know, if he, you know, it's their choice. That's the way I look at it. It's their choice. And if they know that they're going to go late, and they think that they're going to go there, and they know they're going to try to make that ball team, then that's what they're doing. Everybody has they have their own different reasons for whatever it is, whether it's family or whatever. You know, I hate school, or hell, they might not like Miami. You just never know. So you can't judge a kid. Now we see the final product, and we see a kid not make it, and we're like, dang, if he just stayed another year. But that's how it is. But we've also seen guys go late and are making great strides.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of guys that hardly played at Miami that are still on the NFL rosters, like some of those DBs. Whoa.
Yeah. How about that?
Hey guys, they've come out with a bunch of new stuff at All Canes. Lamar's favorite store, favorite place to shop. This week it's new T-shirts, Lamar, from a company called Flow Grown, and I'm gonna pop some of them up here.
They got they got 6 new T-shirts, all Florida, with a Florida feel. I mean, look at that. That's pretty sharp right there. I like that.
1825.
New merchandise arriving daily at All Canes.
Look at that one.
I like that one. That's like, that reminds me like Miami Vice back in the day.
And they got the little state of Florida down there, and the palm trees. That's a nice shirt right there.
That's nice. And of course, I like this one too. That's nice too. Wow, those are tight work. Go down there and visit my man Harry down there at All Canes, or you can shop online at allcanes.com. But you know what? What about the Sean Taylor jerseys? I know they got to sell there. What about those?
These have been selling like hotcakes at All Canes, Lamar.
Well, the 2001 team, had them all on for the celebration, and they look sharp. I mean, I should have tried to double back up there and try to get me one, but I'll talk to Harry. I mean, those are some sharp jerseys, man. Those are real sharp.
So
by the way,
you got your hat.
I got this hat from All Canes. It's my main man, baby. Harry, hook me up.
All Canes has been a Canes fan tradition since 1959, and I know I've been shopping there my whole life, and Harry will always take care of everybody. He's a wealth of information on what's coming next, and if you're a Canes fan that likes to wear your colors everywhere you go, he'll tell you. He'll guide you around the store and tell you what to buy, and tell you what might be coming in a week or so. So if you get a chance, stop in the store. It's right by campus there. If you can't get there in person, you can go to allcanes.com and take a look at everything online at your leisure.
Hey, Gary,
everybody shop at all.
I did that the other day.
Hey, Gary, you remember I used to be a model, an All Canes model?
I remember.
And I was tight.
Now you're a host. You host parties. you've spread your wings, Lamar.
Hey man, I'm just trying to get it done, man. I'm just trying to be a part of the program, man. Anything to get me close to the program, I'm good with it. My show, selling clothes, whatever, man.
Whatever works, man.
Whatever works, man.
So, speaking of spreading wings, okay, Tyler Van Dyke. Okay, we've watched him grow here over the last few weeks, and without question, what we saw Saturday night was the best Tyler Van Dyke that we've seen so far this season. From a coaching perspective, Lamar, what have you seen from Tyler?
The thing that I've seen that I liked was the fact that here it is, those last 2 weeks, the previous 2 games, where they came down to the last second. And he's had to grow from those 2 losses. And he was able to take everything he probably learned from those 2 losses and helped him in this North Carolina State game. Because, again, you had every gamut there. You had the first game where they were saying, we don't want this young quarterback to fail, so we're going to take it out of his hands and put him in field goal range. Then the next week it was, well, let's see, let's go for it. And he fails. And so he's there crying. He's crying his eyes out. And I was saying to myself, it can go one or two ways. Either he's going to fail miserably or he's going to come back with a vengeance. And man, it started with the press conference and he's continued it on, and I'm happy for him, man. He just had a lot of control. I like it's just like Rhett felt good calling plays for him. And that's one of the things about an offensive coordinator. He has to feel good. They have to be a mesh with the quarterback and the offensive coordinator, and the plays they both feel comfortable calling. And I think Rhett, the game plan they put together last week with this kid getting better, I think it's helping Rhett and Likens and the whole offensive staff call better plays for him. And they're starting to feel what his groove is. And I've liked what I've seen so far.
I like his ability to just shake off anything. His mental toughness is way up there because he's been knocked around a lot and he's made some bad mistakes and they lost 2 games. He drove him down the field 2 times. It didn't come up with anything for him. And he didn't care. I'm coming back next week. He opened his mouth. He backed it up. And so to me, his mental toughness is what really – I look at him and I go, wow, this kid's got an it factor. That's part of it.
Lamar, on any of the coaching staffs that you were on, did you guys ever have to replace a quarterback into the season the way Miami has this year?
Yeah. I've helped replace quarterbacks.
With experience or a kid?
Kid.
You put, oh, okay.
Lamar Jackson.
Oh, okay.
He didn't start off being a starter.
Right.
And
Who was the starter? Who was the starter?
The starter actually is playing running back in the NFL. How about that?
Really?
Yeah, for the Carolina Panthers. I can't think of his name right now, but he's a running back for the Carolina Panthers, and Lamar was behind him in the opening game against Reggie Bonifant. That's his name, Reggie Bonifant. Lamar didn't start the game he started the game in another position, but he didn't start the game at quarterback against Auburn. And then he came back in, he played a little bit, we lost the game, he started against Houston, didn't start anymore for a long time, and then we made a switch back to him later on in the season. So I've seen where even the year before that, we had another 2 quarterbacks. I've seen where it can go. You're trying to ride the hot hand. You're hoping someone gets hot. That's the most important thing. You're hoping the team jumps on the back of that quarterback and rides it on to the sunset. That's what you're hoping as a coaching staff, because you're making those changes because that other guy is either I know at Louisville, the one kid was just not athletic enough for Petrino's offense. He won some games, but he wasn't athletic enough. And then Reggie didn't have the experience at quarterback. He played running back in high school, but we put him at quarterback. He didn't have that experience that we needed in some of those games. And you replace him with a guy he's athletic. He might not be as mature, might be a year or 2 behind him, but he's played quarterback his whole life. Mm-hmm. So you can build off that, and you can say some things to this guy that you can't say to Reggie Bonifant, because Reggie Bonifant doesn't understand.
Right. But now, when that happens and you're making that transition during a season, I mean, I would think that plays mind games with the coaches a little bit. Like the Lashley that was calling plays Saturday night was different than the Lashley that had been calling plays the few weeks prior to that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's back to what I said. He felt comfortable, and I think the quarterback growing and maturing is helping him call plays too, because they're on the same page. They got this, and that's what you want out of your quarterback. You can't be a coordinator over here second guessing your quarterback. When you call that play, you got to know that play is going. You and your quarterback are on the same page. You've gone over 1,000 times. There's nothing else they can do that he's not prepared for. And you want to be able to look down at that sheet, call the play, and then start thinking about the next play without watching that play. Because if you're sitting there watching it going, oh, hell, what do I call next? You want to keep going. Like when you have those plays scripted, and, we're going to have Tiger on here later. I'm sure his coordinator has those plays scripted, those 10, 15 plays, and somehow or another, you believe in those plays. You want to see those plays run, and when they work, and when you get what you want out of those plays, whether it's formations or certain blitzes or anything, it's a beautiful thing. And you can continue calling your plays, and it makes it a lot easier for you.
Well, I just found a quarterback that liked every single play that he ever saw on a play sheet, and that's Kenny Kelly, if he's with us.
Yes, sir. I'm with you.
What's up, KK? How you been,
Hey,
man?
what's going on, guys? All right,
Well,
how you doing?
Welcome to the party, the Lamar Coach T Show.
Man, I'm so happy to be on the show, man. I've been praying, man. I couldn't wait to LT call me, man, and put me on the show.
Spoken like a true quarterback. Spoken like a true quarterback.
Man, it's one of the best wide receivers, man. One of the best wide receivers I ever played the game, man. But hey, all good, man. I know your family, man. I'm just happy to be on the show, man. Good to see the rest of you all.
Great to see you.
Last time I saw you was in the Meadowlands.
Yeah,
he played Ohio State. I know Gary was there because I saw Gary there, but
yeah, I don't think I was even.
That was a hell of a game.
Oh yeah, I don't even think I was legal age, drinking age at the time.
Plant City in the house.
Yeah,
Plant City in the house.
Oh yeah, Plant City, man. I tell you, that's my town, man. That place really.
The Strawberry Festival. The Strawberry Festival.
Strawberry capital of the world, baby.
There it is.
Sir.
There it is.
Yeah.
When I was with the Buccaneers, we had to go to the Strawberry Festival, and we were on the floats, and people was throwing those strawberry candies at us.
Yeah.
Them things hurt, dog. Them things hurt.
Hey, they hurt, but they good, man.
They good, man. They so good. They so good.
Yeah.
Hey, let's get right into it, man.
All right.
2 sports.
Yeah.
2 sports.
Okay.
I mean, what was that like? Like, here it is. You play football, you play baseball. I mean, what was that like for you?
Well, I tell you, LT, man, at the time, it was actually pretty easy, man.
Right.
It was a pretty easy deal because I was a 4-sport athlete in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So in high school, I didn't have any time for anything but sports and education. So I played baseball, basketball, football, and I ran track in high school, and I won state in 3 of them, except for football. And so when it got to the point where I had to do 2 sports at a time, play at UM and also play with the Devil Rays at the time, those little 2 or 3 days off that I had a year, that wasn't nothing because I was used to it.
So what was it about Miami? What was it about Miami?
What was about Miami? I'll tell you what sold me on Miami. When it came down to it, my final 5 was Florida State, Miami, LSU, Tennessee, and Virginia Tech. I ended up taking a visit. My first visit I took to LSU. Oh man, I tell you, that was special. That was a trip I'll never forget, man. They really took care of me. They did a really good job of showing me around. I mean, the program at the time was on its rise, and Coach Gary Donato, I think at the time was the head coach. And I took a visit there, and I almost committed. I was like, but my dad at the time said, "No, son, you need to take a couple more visits." So I ended up taking another visit I took a visit to Virginia Tech. And I was up there at the time, and man, Virginia Tech wasn't them guys out there barbecuing in the snow, man, and tank tops. I say, man, we don't do that in Florida, man. I'm good on that. And then I had some scheduled visits to Tennessee and Florida State, but I ended up going on my Miami visit. And man, I tell you, I had some guys, Brian Collins, Warren Sapp. Them guys, one of the main reasons made me go to UL, man. I tell you, I went down there and them guys took care of me. Not only those guys, but the current players at the time, Quincy Hips, Damian Lewis, Bubba Franks, them guys was there. And I tell you, I had the best time of my life there on that visit. And just the guys, man, I saw the talent that Coach Bush Davis was trying to build around the program. At the time, I loved Coach Davis. I loved Coach Pagano. Coach Chuck Pagano was the one that recruited me. I just thought the coaching staff was awesome. They treated me like, really good. The city was awesome to me. Man, I just tell you, I just got that vibe, man. I thought everything was in place. Coach Bush Davis at the time, he was willing to work with me in my professional contract at the time I had signed. So everything fell in place, man. I just thought it was an awesome atmosphere. It was a brotherhood. They did some things there special. The little things that I didn't see at other schools. You better not walk on that U. Uh, you know what I mean? You better not touch that phone as a freshman.
Yeah.
Don't get caught out. Don't get caught out by yourself.
Yeah.
Always be with a teammate. Those little things like that. It just sold me over. And just knowing that I was going to be playing for one of the best coaches in college football at the time, in Butch Davis, and the rest of the staff. I mean, it was a no-brainer for me. Being close to home, uh, my parents, my mom and dad at the time, my brothers, my family, my aunts and uncles, and all my family and friends at the time could be able to just jump in the car and come and see me play and head on back home. So it all felt into place.
So,
Kenny, what have you seen from the quarterbacks at the U this year? What have your thoughts been on? Well, let's talk about Tyler Van Dyke since he's the guy now.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I see a bright future in Tyler Van Dyke. The thing is, and a lot of quarterbacks will tell you, that experience. It's tough to play young, come in and young at a big time program like the U. Not only that, the pressure that you have on you, with us former alumni and the city expecting you to play well and win every Saturday. It's not easy being a quarterback at the U. But as far as with Tyler, man, I think with experience, he's gonna get better. I mean, he's shown flashes of some things of some greatness that he can be one of those top quarterbacks in college football. But as far as everybody else behind him, obviously, like I said, everybody's young. With Derek King, we lost him for the year, but we just need some experience at that position. You know, and I think that'll be a big key in the turnaround in UM's offense.
Kenny, let me ask you this about the offensive line, if I may. So, we've heard that they've had problems the last couple of years, and it's somewhat better maybe this year. But how does that impact the quarterback play? King first, and now Van Dyke, who's a young kid thrown into the fire with the offensive line. That's like, they're struggling.
Yeah, as a quarterback, it's tough. As a quarterback, one of the number one rules, other than protecting the ball, is second, man, you got to be able to trust your old line. It's already rough enough and tough enough as a quarterback going into a game and having to prepare and have all the other things to deal with, and then on top of that, you don't trust your line. So it definitely plays in effect as a quarterback when you're back there. There's a big difference that Ken Dorsey could tell you that when he sat back there, he didn't get touched for 2 years. Man, I tell you, man,
They never even washed his uniform.
Dream of that.
Yeah, it was unreal.
Yeah.
But the kid's got guts, though. He's tough. I like his.
Yeah.
I said I like his toughness.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I love his toughness. Like I said, he's shown flashes of being a really good quarterback, and I think going towards the end of the season that if he continues to progress like that, I think the whole that can make a big influence in the whole program itself. Everything really starts with that quarterback position. You think about it. I mean, the UM days, we were great. We had the Gino Torettas and and the Ken Dorseys on it. Those you got to have that man at the head of that ship to run that ship, and it's got to be your quarterback, and he's got to be confident, and he's got to be that dude to be able to run your type of program.
hey, I was just talking about having receivers as a quarterback, having receivers that you can trust. That when you throw that ball out there and they make plays for you, it's a confidence thing, man. I mean, as a quarterback, it has to be like one of the greatest things. That guy, you're in trouble, and you're just putting it in his area.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man. You mentioned that. I tell you, and no discredit to Santana Moss and Reggie Wayne. They were my running backs at the U, but man, I tell you, I played with one of the best wide receivers in that's in Darrell Jackson. That was my guy in high school, Darrell Jackson. But I tell you, I had Darrell Jackson, Santana Moss, and Reggie Wayne, and Darrell Jones, and a couple other guys, Andre King. They made my job easy. I tell a lot of kids now, LT, man, probably half the time, maybe 60, 70% of the time, when I threw the ball, I didn't even see them. I didn't even see my receivers. I threw it, and I was hoping and praying you be in that spot where you're supposed to be. And most of the time, they were in that spot. So yeah, that confidence of that receiver, man, I tell you that plays a big effect. And the quarterback play, because as a quarterback, you got to be able to trust that your receiver can get off that jam press or be able to get back on track and be in the area he's supposed to be.
Hey, I got a guy that wants in on this conversation, so I'm gonna hit the button right now.
Nah, we don't know that guy. Don't let him
You
in.
remember him, Kenny? He looks a little different with all that, with gray on his chin, huh?
Yeah, the last time I saw him, that gray was some black.
Well, I lost it
black.
up top. I don't know if I ever should have had any there, but I just needed to find a way to keep it somehow.
Yeah. Hey, no, that's what's in right now. That's what's in right now, Father. Hey, the beard,
I'm having
man,
a terrible time hearing you guys.
That's what's.
Father, you got to just turn your volume up.
Well, I tried that already, and it doesn't seem to be working too much.
We're hearing you fine.
You're perfect. You're perfect.
Hey, can we talk about some things?
Hey,
Go ahead.
Talk about?
yeah,
Go ahead.
the show is yours, Father Leo. You're the host now. Go ahead.
From 1926 to 1982, how many 10 wins or more seasons did the University of Miami football team have in those 56 years? None.
I was going to say 0.
Right.
None. From 1983 to 2003, 20 years, how many 10 or more win seasons did they have?
13.
14.
I was going to say 15. Yeah, 14.
14.
And how many of those seasons were
From
probation?
2003 until the present,
Yep.
how many 10-win seasons?
One. Rick.
So it begs the question, from 1983 to 2003, what was going on?
People, Father Leo.
We had
Coaches.
5 national championships, 4 different head coaches who are as diverse in coaching and personality as one could imagine.
Mhm.
Now, you can't dismiss the influence of coaching on any level, but there were other reasons for the winning culture that was the University of Miami for 20 years.
Yep. It almost,
That's to me, that is the focal point of finding out what the program might be lacking. You can call it culture, chemistry,
culture and people.
yes.
but there's no doubt that the players who were there set a standard that the other ones behind them were obligated to follow. And you ask yourself, over the course of any kind of competitive team sport, where were there organizations, teams that exemplified that for a period of time? The Montreal Canadiens, the New York Yankees. You can go to just about any sport and find a team sport where for a period of time, something was in the water.
New England Patriots. The Patriots had it. I think the players had this perception that it was still, no matter how many titles they won, us against the world. That's the attitude they had. Always a chip on their shoulder, no matter what they accomplished. It just seemed like, and you know, you could tell when they had a bad game or they lost the game, God forbid. The next week, someone's getting their ass kicked. That doesn't happen anymore. There's no such thing as, okay, let's just put it aside and go kick somebody's ass next week. That's gone.
Hey, Bruce, you can't say ass in front of Father Leo. Stop.
Oh, sorry.
Well, you know,
How about the tushy? No? Sorry, Father.
no, they only apologize for your sins.
You'd be here for a month.
When you're building any kind of organization, whether it's business or even a team, you know you have to have some key components, people who can make the organization go without you always having your finger on the pulse. Maybe it's a quarterback, maybe it's a safety or a middle linebacker on either the offense or defense, but somebody who's going to play at a level others only wish they had. And you can surround them with people of lesser talent, even mediocre talent, and you can have a successful business organization or a team. But you can't dismiss that there are key ingredients. Once you get those people in place, they can bring the others along. Simply by example.
Yeah. I would say that Russell brought along Cortez. Would you agree with that, Father?
I'm sorry?
Russell Maryland brought along Cortez, and he followed.
Well, even before that, the only way Russell got a scholarship to the University of Miami was purely by accident. I mean, there was somebody had committed, backed out, and Hubbard Alexander came in and told Coach Johnson, he said, I got this kid in Chicago. A friend of mine told me about, when Russell showed up, he couldn't run from one end of the elevator to the other without losing his breath. And this is a guy who came in overweight, unable to catch his mother in a phone booth, and ironically later on becomes a number 1 draft choice in the NFL. I asked the question, how did that happen? How did we get Ray Lewis? Somebody from the University of Miami scouting and coaching staff went to watch Jamie German play.
Mm-hmm.
Lo and behold, they find Ray Lewis. How'd we get Edgerrin James from Immokalee? In other words, there were people who came into the program who didn't even know how good they were and got better.
Well, your coaching staff made these guys better, and they had the ability to see talent where others might not, and they were able to plug it in, like an Ed Reed and so on and so forth, because that's what Bush was able to do, and the other coaches were able to do.
Yeah, Bruce, I can't tell you how essential that is.
Yeah.
I mean, the ability to evaluate talent is critical, but not just the ability to run a 40, in a respectable time. How many times you can throw 225 pounds in the air? And you got to have something which is something within. It's characteristics of leadership, perseverance, determination. I got to tell a story. Years ago, when I was with the Dolphins, Coach Johnson asked me, he said, Father Lou, he said, how would you like to go to Indianapolis with us to interview some of the prospective draft choices for the Dolphins? I said, Coach, I'd be honored. He said, I want you to start talking about character. Because if it comes down to trying to assess and choose between one player and another, I want to have the much background as I have on an individual, the more informed decision I can make. Well, when I got out there the first year, it was the same basic questions. And I decided the second year I was going to ask a question that I myself had decided that I thought needed to be asked. And the question I started asking these prospective draft choices for the 32 teams in the NFL was this. Give me an instance of something that's happened in your personal life that broke you down, crushed you, broke your heart, or almost destroyed you. And tell me how you dealt with it. Well, I got to tell you guys, you can't believe what I heard. One guy told me, he later made the Pro Bowl in the NFL, that he was in an automobile accident with his uncle. And in the accident, his uncle was decapitated.
Wow.
Then I heard about the abuse that some of them had suffered physically and emotionally, sexually. I was shocked at the transparency and the vulnerability that some of these young men have had in them with no outlet. Who do you go to? Who do you tell? High school counselor, trusted friend, whoever. Some never had that. And I found it almost incomprehensible that they had all of this so tightly wrapped up in them that given the opportunity to let it go, it came all out. The magnificent thing about football is it gives you that outlet. Sports does that in general. Something where you can physically generate all the adrenaline, everything that comes out of you. I remember Jason Taylor used to say when he would line up against the opposing left tackle, you know, I got a lot of issues that I haven't worked out yet. And today you're going to help me.
That's pretty funny.
Well, I would say,
So think about this. If each one of you was an athletic director, what would be the ingredients that you would start to have to build a successful, not only an athletic program per se, but in particular, maybe a football program? What have they done at the New England Patriots that was a culture that Bill Belichick established? What did Bear Bryant do at Alabama? What did they do in other places where there was a continuous evidence of a standard that everyone coming in had to subscribe to? And if they didn't, you in terms determined your own fate because you couldn't row the boat in the same direction.
That's a damn good question. But I think that if you look at Belichick, you talk about maybe Saban. Who else did you mention, Father?
I'm sorry?
You mentioned another person, too, besides Belichick. Who else?
Oh, Bear Bryant. Coach Bear Bryant at Alabama.
Yeah, Bear Bryant, and then, of course, Saban. To me, those guys are never high and never low. They're the same. Every day, they're like assassins. They just want to just go out there and play football and win. You don't see the highs and the lows with them. They're like right there. They're flatlined almost. Belichick is all business. Saban's all business. I think that's what you're getting at. I don't know what we have here anymore, but there's not this fear of failure anymore. It's like, okay, we lost, so what? We'll go home. That's not acceptable.
Well, I often say this. I call it the Jeff Fiegels example. Nobody knew who Jeff Fiegels was. Nobody, forget about it. But when we decided when we went and won the national championship in 1987, he was a punter, and he was played some very significant roles in our victories in that season. He played 17 years in the NFL.
Right.
He probably is the longest playing University of Miami football player in the NFL. Now, here's a perfect example of how one individual or a group of individuals can benefit from the success of the whole. But it's unfortunate today that some people reverse it, thinking that the individual's acclaim and reward will bring success to the whole, and not always.
It's a me, I society. That's why I've been saying on the show, when you hear these kids announce where they're going, they do LeBron James. I'm taking my talents to Miami for the next 3 or 4 years. Their foot's already halfway out the door before they get there. It's only about themselves. They don't care. Listen, I know these guys for 30, 40 years. All they talked about is winning, and how hard practice is, and so on and so forth. They weren't talking about personal accolades, and you knew most of them were winding up in the NFL. We knew that, but they weren't about that. They were about what's important to the Miami football program, and I don't know if that's the same anymore.
Well,
but I think we can get it back.
Where there's a lot of attention to individualism, and I've been saying this a lot lately. Individual rights are not absolute. They're always subordinate to the greater common good. If they weren't, I could practice my drums and my trumpet outside your home at 2:00 in the morning on the street. And no matter how much we scream and yell for individual attention, for rights, they're never greater than what is good for the whole, the majority. Especially applies to the team.
Mm-hmm.
Any concept of teamwork.
Hey, Father
And
Leo.
I say that because everyone has to be held to a standard. And when you make exceptions, it creates divisiveness.
Yeah.
Hey, Father.
I just think.
Yeah, go ahead, Kenny.
Go ahead, Kenny.
Kenny and then Lamar.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to say real quick that I don't. I know when I was at the U, and I see it now that I'm in the coaching profession as a head
I'm
coach.
sorry, Kenny. I can barely hear you.
Okay. So I was saying, like, when I was playing at the U, and now that I see that I'm in the coaching profession now, that a head coach is only as good as his assistant coaches. I know when I was at the U, you think about some of the assistant coaches that came through there. You know, the Chuck Paganos, the Art Kehoes, and the Dunn. I mean, those was great. You know, Coach Johnson. You know, with the receivers, and I mean, we had some great assistant coaches. You know, that not only found these kind of kids and recruited these kids, but they developed them. You know, I just think a key part of a program is the head coach being able to hire the right assistants. Even in my baseball program right now, I spent extra money to pay better coaches. I don't want to I don't want to be cheap and hire average coaches. I would pay extra for a good coach. So I just think that, not saying there's anything wrong with the UM assistant coaches now, but I'm just thinking as a program we need to keep that in consideration, that might need to go spend and find a head, get a head coach that can hire some great assistants.
Hey, Kenny, speaking of coaching, man, I want to say, man, I appreciate having you on the show. I know you got to get back to game planning.
Yeah.
And but we definitely appreciate having you on the show, man. We'll have you on another time. And go plant city strawberries.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's all
Hey,
right.
yeah, we grow some of the biggest and juiciest strawberries, man, in the world. In the world.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
Great seeing you, Kenny.
I
Thanks,
appreciate
Kenny.
y'all. Same here.
Take care, Kenny.
Father Leo, one of
Yes.
our viewers, Falconer X, makes a point here. He says that the NCAA won't let coaches coach today like they did, back in the day. And I watched the impact that you had on the kids that came to the University of Miami for so many years. He says the young men today are different and that the world is larger with social media. Could Father Leo reach the young men today like he was able to back then?
That is a great question,
That's a
Gary.
great question.
I don't know how to answer that, primarily because I don't know what the differences are. I understand the advent of the social media and how many times it's used during the course of the day. But I was talking to a friend of mine, a psychologist, the other day, and there's going to be a problem, by and large, in the future of human nature. The inability to communicate. We are so inserted in our technology today that as much as we're communicating and at least offering information or sharing it, I wonder how much we're communicating on a deeper level. The ability to be transparent and vulnerable. Now, in Gary, I'm ADD, so I have to take a long time to get around to answering the question. And by that I mean, if you relate to people on a human level, no matter what the arena is or what the venue is, I find people today need to communicate more than they ever have with someone who will accept them for who they are. I like to tell my Halle Berry story. You ready?
Okay.
Years ago, when the mid to late 90s, I was invited by Don Smiley, then the president of the Marlins, to watch an Atlanta Brave game coming to play the Florida Marlins. And so the right fielder of the Atlanta Braves at that time was Halle Berry. And
David
to me,
Justice.
she's the most beautiful woman in the world.
Yeah.
Well, midway through the game, the door opens up to the suite and she walks in. I mean, she's breathtaking. I mean, drop dead gorgeous. And she goes around the entire suite introducing herself. She couldn't have been more friendly, affable, heartwarming. I mean, unbelievable. So I'm the last person. She comes to me and she said, "What's your name?" I said, "Father Leo." She said, what did you say? I said, "Father Leo." She said, "Are you a Catholic priest?" I said, "Yes, I am." So for the next hour and 15 minutes, much to the chagrin of everyone else in the booth, she and I had an A and B conversation back and forth. And she told me something then that she later admitted on Oprah Winfrey. Ready? Sitting down?
Sitting down.
She told me she never thought of herself as an attractive woman.
Wow.
There's a point here. People see in us what we don't see in ourselves. And every now and then we need a mirror, someone to teach us, point out to us, draw out of us what we don't know we possess. You see, mirrors, they don't make judgments. They only reflect what they see. So, Gary, I'm still trying to answer your question. The most important thing you can do today, on any level, or any age, at any time, is to help someone see who they are and pointing out what they can do. Everybody can see their faults and failings and idiosyncrasies. Those are obvious. But helping someone see what they can't see or teach them a skill they didn't know they possessed, that's when you really become a teacher or mentor, because you open up a whole world. Now imagine on a football field when all of a sudden coaches reinforce effort, coaches reinforce, ability and skills and talents, and someone begins to believe, I can do this. It's the aha moment. And that takes place on the lowest level of coaching. And over the years, it can be honed and developed into such a skill. But that's the job of the coach, to help someone see who they are and what they can be. It's like Coach Johnson always is quoting Goethe about, see a man the way he is and leave him that way. And, if you treat a man the way he can be, and he could be, that's what he'll become. It's the Pygmalion theory. And I think that's every teacher in a classroom, every coach in any sport, and even in human relationships. And that is to help someone see who they are and embrace them for that. Acknowledge them. Compliment them. So,
I kind of think that there's a lack of respect for authority these days. Did you hear me? There's a lack of respect for authority that would make it tough for anybody, including you, who I believe could reach a lot of these kids. And that's what makes it difficult. They just don't have any respect for authority. Their parents, police, and anybody else, teachers, and so on. It's all about them.
Well, we got a new visitor.
Oh yeah, we got someone to stop that in 2 seconds.
hey, that's my twin. Hey, that's brothers from a different mother.
Let me tell y'all something. Y'all got Leo on here, sounding all politically correct.
We got the same barber.
Leo's full of crap. I'm just telling y'all, man. Leo is full of crap.
I can't hear a word he's saying, but I don't think it's kind.
No, it's not kind.
57.
Father Leo, how you doing? Leo!
Hey, Notre Dame, Orange Bowl, right before half. Who's that fat man returning that interception? Oh, my God.
What's up, man? How you doing? Leo, how you doing?
What am I doing?
I know how. How are you doing?
I can't hear you. This is my... I'm technologically challenged.
You know what? No, you're not technological. You can turn that hearing aid up. That's what you need.
Yeah, man.
Tiger, your mic's low for some reason.
He can't hear a damn thing, but he's run the show for the last half hour.
He's been running his mouth for the last
All right, I told you I was ADD. ADD people don't shut up.
How you guys doing?
We're doing great. We're doing great, Coach Clark.
Hey,
Coach Clark, yeah.
It's time to cut Leo off so we can talk.
Hey,
Your show, Lamar.
Hey, Father Leo.
What?
Can you one more thing before you go? Can you tell the story about when you talked about being able to help someone, to touch someone, and myself? Just tell that story about when you came up to me when I was in when I was at a time of need. Tell that story, Father Leo.
Well, this, Lamar, I'm glad you bring that up because this goes to Gary's question. And I think this is very relevant, Gary. Coach Schnellenberger, Johnson, and Coach Erickson, and Butch Davis, all the rest. You know what those coaches did? They gave me the freedom to be myself. They let me stay on the sidelines.
Yeah.
And I think today, regardless of your religious or persuasion, we want to be able to come to someone, and this is where this is a whole different story, and know that if I tell them something, it ain't going any further. I don't work for the company. I got your back. You tell me something really difficult and challenging, I'm going to do my earnest and my best to help you. I don't care what it is. With you personally, member of your family, got another problem, I'm there for you. That's clear. One time I was at a visiting hotel the night before a University of Miami football game, place undetermined, and I was passing by the stairwell. You sure you want me to tell the story, right?
Go ahead.
Okay. And I could hear the sound of someone crying. And I opened the stairwell door, and right below me, I could hear someone sobbing. So I walked in the stairwell, and there was Lamar sitting there. So I sat down beside him, and he proceeded to tell me what someone had done to him or was promising to do to him to literally affect his entire professional career. And I let him get it all out, and then I said to him, that's never going to happen. Because whoever tries to hurt you has to come through me first. And the ability of these players to have someone who had their back away from home, who didn't have the support systems available. And in many ways, these are like my sons.
Yeah.
And I treated them that way. I think that was the most important element. That they weren't just my brothers. In many ways, I'll be 71 next month. They were my sons. Never got married, never had children, so they became what I never had. I turned out doing their weddings, and I could enumerate the number of funerals that I've done, baptisms, visiting the sick. I mean, that was an opportunity for me to be there because sometimes nothing I could say could take the pain away. Sometimes you just need to be there and let them know that you care. I was blessed. I was really blessed to be in that position. And I credit the coaches. And they'll tell you that I had the craziest sense of humor. It was bad. We don't want to go public about it. But Lamar and stop it, Tiger. You know, Lamar, Tiger. I got phone numbers. Okay. So anyway, there's a lot of things. There were times, Gary, I worried about being like them too much, carrying on like them, that I might lose their respect. And years later, I asked a couple of them, especially Melvin. I said, Melvin, was I really that bad at the back of the bus? He goes, and he called me Father Scorpio. So, Father Scorpio, I'm telling you right now, if you hadn't been like that, we would have never been able to relate to you. To me, that was the greatest compliment. You know,
those players loved you. Don't kid yourself. As good as
I love them. Are you kidding me?
They loved you, though. They do.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, Lamar and I just had both our hips replaced. Are you ready? I had mine on March 17th, and I heard he was getting his hip replaced. So I gave him all the leftover implements that I needed to help. And so we met up at a parking lot, and I'm holding his daughters, and I get them to go into the pet shop, and I give him the unmentionable items that he needs because I use them. And so that's as far as I'm going to go. Too much information.
Hey, man. Hey, you got to go. You got to go. We love you. We love you.
You said it to all the guys. Cut it out.
we love you. Father.
All right. Be safe, you guys.
You
all
right.
Father, great seeing you.
I'll
love
give
you.
Bye.
I'll Facebook you, buddy.
All right.
Wow.
The characters that he had to deal with are incredible when you really think about some of those characters. You guys know who they are. Wow.
But
He had so many different personalities. It's incredible.
The crazy thing about it, though, Bruce, you can see he can hold his own, though. It's not
Yeah.
No, he can definitely
71, my ass. He can still go.
Hey, Fats, how you doing, Fats?
Hey, Tiger. For those that don't know, Tiger's the head coach at Robert Morris University now. How many years, Tiger?
This is my 4th year.
So you're going through. It's a little different level than Miami, but you're going through a lot of the same experiences of trying to lead the young men of today.
Absolutely, it's a difficult task. It really is. And right now, what we've done that's made it even a crazier task is when I first got here, we're in one conference. We're in the NEC conference, and we had the same number of scholarships that everyone else had. Well, we just bumped into the Big South Conference with Kennesaw State and Gardner-Webb and Charleston Southern and Campbell and a bunch of other schools, and we don't have as many scholarships yet. So it's become a bigger challenge for us to do that. But what you guys was talking about earlier, when it comes to young men and their minds, just trying to mold those minds is a tough situation. And to answer your question, Bruce, Leo would be perfect right now.
Perfect.
All these young men, they deal with so many battles inside themselves, and they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to deal with it. And somebody they could talk to at a level like when we talk to Leo would be perfect right now, because a lot of young men are going through those issues that they need to talk to someone about. I heard someone say it best, and they always said, become the man you needed when you were a kid. And that's what Leo is.
Yeah. And, you had your own personal glory when you stepped in that game where you were the MVP, you were the man that day. It just came, you were there and you were ready and prepared. We've been talking about this now for the last 2 months on this show about being ready to step up and how practice makes these players play better in the games. You guys kicked each other's asses during the practices. I don't know what's going on, but everybody keeps calling it a country club. I don't know if that's true because I'm not there. Gary is, but it's not the same.
Well, the thing about it, Bruce, I'll be totally honest with you. The rules that the NCAA has put in, it makes it a little tougher to tackle.
Right.
20 hours.
Because we have what's called 20-hour rule. You can't go no more than 4 hours per day. You can only hit like 30% of the time when you're on the field. Only one position or one part of practice can involve live hitting. You can't have any live hitting. The guys have to wear pads this day. They have to have a day off during the week. They can't go 7 days a week. So there are a lot of things that have been implemented to slow things down because of concussions and injuries and things like that. But I'll tell you this, when I was at Miami, there was a sign, and I don't know if Lamar remembers, there was a sign that went from the training room all the way to our locker room. That sign said, preparation plus opportunity equals success. And I read that thing every day. So in 1987 or 1988, when I got the opportunity to step into the Orange Bowl, I had read that sign every day up until that point. I just prepared for the opportunity that I had, and it goes back to what you just said. Our practices were bloodbath. And Lamar tell you, when he first got there as a freshman, and he weighed 155 pounds and 6'12", it was a situation where you could get knocked out in practice at an early age. So it was one of those situations where practice was a bloodbath, and we went at it. We did a great job, but we made each other better. Saturdays were a day off. We used to say this all the time. Saturdays were a day off because all week doing practice. I'll just give you an example. Our scout team tackle when I was at Miami was Leon Searcy. So that just gives you an example of what the scout team was and the guys you were going against during the week.
Yeah, and you had a lot of leadership when you got there. You had Jerome, and nobody was messing with Jerome. And if you looked at you funny, right?
No one was messing with Jerome. No one was messing with Highsmith. No one messing with Winston Moss, Tolbert Bain, Darrell Fullerton, Selwyn Brown, Melvin Brad. I can go on and on. Michael Irvin. I can go on and on. Rod Carter. All these guys. When people say that it's the culture, that's who molded me. When I walked in, I need the coaches to tell me what to do or how to do it or work out in the summer. That's what the guys were doing. That's what the players were doing. This is what you do with the University of Miami. You work out in the summer. You're here in the summer. You're not thinking about going home. You go home for a month, talk to your family, then you bring your butt right back down here because we got a championship to win. And that's what we believe more than anything else. And the great thing about it, no one ever talked about championships. We just talked about the process of getting there.
Hey, I can say this. You talk about the culture. Do you know that you gave me my first tickets to an NFL game. When you played a home game, you played you were Cincinnati, you played at the Dolphins. That was the first NFL game I had ever been to. And at that point, because you helped me get to that game, you got me the tickets. I saw there was an opportunity for me to I could touch it. I could feel it. I could see it. Like before that, I just thought that, hey, all these guys around me. But it was the culture. It was the culture, what we did for each other and how we built each other up and it was so much about no one failing. And it was so much about you. It was so much about you got to fit into what we believe in. If not, you'll be in the minority and you got to move on.
And these guys had no problems making fun of somebody or picking on somebody that screwed up in practice. And they didn't want that to happen because so many of these guys got picked on. You screw up. And they didn't want to get picked on anymore. So, that, I better bust my ass tomorrow because I don't need this. Like, you guys were so close. You're like family that you could actually make fun of your own family by pointing, you screwed up. Don't do that again. I used to hear Leon tell me about him saying that to Claude Jones like every other day. Don't do that again. You're going to get killed.
The crazy thing about it, Bruce and Gary, nowadays as a head coach, I really have to watch what I say to young men. Because I have to tell them on a regular basis. I have a sign up and each guy's locker says, it's never personal. It's only about your performance. You have to explain to young men nowadays that I'm not personally attacking you. I'm attacking you how you play. I constantly had wide receivers telling me, you can't cover me. You're too slow. You're too fast. You can't. I had guys telling me that. I had guys telling me stuff like that. I'll tell you, how many times we told you we had an all ugly team at the University of Miami. So guys would get their feelings hurt on a regular basis at the
on a regular basis.
But understand, but nowadays it's a little touchy feely when it comes to things like that. Like I said, Father Leo would be perfect right now because that's what we need, somebody to nurture these guys and help them understand it's not personal. It's all about performing on the football field. It's all about being the best that you can be.
Hey, Tiger, let's talk tackling for a minute. It's been such an issue for the Hurricanes this year. You're obviously in the fray yourself, teaching kids how to tackle. I don't know how much Miami football you have time to watch, but talk a little bit about the art of tackling and why a team might have problems in that regard.
Well, to be honest with you, Gary, I'll tell you this. There is no such thing as a perfect tackle, but there is a perfect way to tackle, if that makes sense to you. And you have to practice at it every day. It's not something that you can occasionally do, especially now with all the rules that we have. You have to practice one way or another, whether it's on a dummy, whether it's on a sled, whatever situation, you have to practice every day. And it's also
a donut.
It's also a desire. You have to want to tackle. It's a situation where you have to be there, you have to do it. But you also got to put in the fact that nowadays a lot of guys are scared to hit somebody because they're scared they're going to get ejected from the game. So you got to put all those elements into it. As a coach, you got to find out the right way they can do it to make it safe for them, but also make it efficient so we can get the guy to the ground. So it's a situation where it's a tough situation now to coach tackling the way it needs to be coached because, again, it can't be live every day. So you got to figure out how to do it. So I think what Miami needs to do personally, and again, I'm not there. I don't know what they're doing. They need to tackle every day. And I'm not talking about live tackling, but find a way to get an opponent to the ground, bring in a bag or a sled or like.
Yeah, they do that.
They do that. Maybe 15 minutes a day.
Yeah.
They do, but that's not enough.
We do a little more than that. And on top of that, we do what's called thudding in practice. We don't take a guy to the ground, but we wrap him up, make sure we're grabbing cloth, make sure we keep moving our feet. We're constantly coaching tackling on the field constantly every day. Even if we're tagging off, we're telling guys, tag off, 2 hands below the waist, keep your feet moving, bend your knees, not at your waist. So we're constantly coaching on tackling because it's a crucial part of the game.
Yeah, well, you've seen how many shoulders these guys have been throwing the last couple of weeks, just shoulders and shoulders and arm tackling. Come on.
Bruce, it ain't just them, though. Trust me. I'm on the sideline.
You guys too?
I'm on the sideline losing my mind on a regular basis when guys are throwing the shoulders into people. So, I mean, and you see it on Sundays. It isn't just.
Yes.
You see the play the other day with the Baltimore Ravens when the Cincinnati Bengals, when the wide receiver called the ball, 3 guys missed the tackle. I'm like, are you serious? No one can tackle him. Nowadays, they can't. I tell you what, how can you not tackle a guy on the sideline? The sideline is 100% when it comes to tackles. They're not going to miss a tackle. Sideline has never missed a tackle. Just push him out of bounds. You still have guys missing tackles on the sideline. So it's an art that's been that's gone away that really needs to come back. But again, I think it has a lot to do with the way they're doing targeting and everything else that's going on.
Yeah, targeting, that's a tough one. And there's multiple targeting calls every game, and it happens so fast. But unless the guy's diving in with his head, let him play.
I'm with you 100%. We've had one of our guys got hit against, we played North Alabama, and our guy got hit in the chest with a guy's forearm, and our team lost their mind. I was like, shut up. He just got tackled.
Jack Tatum would have been evicted in the first quarter of every game, and he would have been out.
Last week we're playing Garden the Well, Bruce, and one of our guys picks the guy up and he slams him on his side, and they throw a penalty. I say, really? We're gonna throw a penalty for a guy? Say he can't. I said, what are you supposed to do? Lay him on the ground? Let's next time just place him on the ground and make sure he doesn't get hurt, and we don't have to worry about it. So it's one of those situations where I think the refs kind of get spooked too when it comes to that. But let it play out. See how it plays out. This is organized violence. That's what this is. On Saturday, this is organized violence. You can literally knock a man out, and they're gonna tell you to go back to the huddle. That's the great thing about football. So let's play.
Hey, Tiger, I got a coaching question for you.
Talk to me fast.
Here we go with the fact. Okay, for those viewers, the man will not call me by Lamar Thomas. Okay, we actually coached together at Hampton University. We coached together, and the man in a staff meeting room called me Fats. Come on, man. But we coached together, and I can tell you this: I've seen the growth of Coach Bernard Clark. He had been in it a long time before I got there, and I learned a lot from watching him, and I learned a lot as you keep going on. Tiger, now since you being a head coach, we've all been fired at some point.
Absolutely.
How hard are those freaking exit meetings now as a head coach? Yeah. You have to really tell somebody, hey, man, we friends, but you got to move out.
Well,
you got to go.
I'll tell you this. When Mario Cristobal fired me at FIU, this is what I told Mario. I said, Mario, you have to do what's best for your program. And if getting rid of me and bringing someone else in is best for your program, you have to do it. This isn't personal. So that's what I tell guys. I got to do what's best for the program. I can't worry about what's best for you. I can't worry about what's best for me. I got to do what's best for our players, what's best for our coaching staff. We've got to find the best mesh here. Guys that are going to mesh together, we're going to be able to win football games. If you're not a part of that mesh, that's just the way it is. I don't take it personally. When Mario fired me, I didn't take it personally. To this day, I still text him and congratulate him when he does great, when he does things, when he won his conference 2 years straight. I text him and congratulate him because this isn't personal. This is a job. That's what guys have to understand. It's professional. So I try to help guys understand that, Lamar. Is it still tough? Absolutely, it's tough because you're still taking away a man's livelihood. You're still taking money out of his pocket. So it's still a tough situation. But if it's best for the program, it has to be done.
Hey, by the way, the brotherhood that we created, okay? We trust each other. Tiger, there was a young man that I coached with, okay, that he wanted a job with Tiger in his program. And I called Tiger up. I gave him I told him exactly what I thought of the guy. I told him, what I thought. Tiger listened to me, and he said, I appreciate it. The guy ended up getting a job, and he actually has elevated himself to special teams coordinator. But that meant a lot to me because in this coaching profession, a lot of times all you have is who you know and your word. And if someone trusts you enough to say they listen to you and say, okay, I'll interview this guy, and it works out, that means they trust you. And that meant, by the way, I never told you this, but that meant a lot to me that he has a job.
What a great thing about it is Nick. His name's Nick Alamalo, who's talking about it. He's our special teams coordinator, he's our running backs coach. And Lamar and Coach Erickson called me about him. And automatically, when those guys called me, I listened because I got respect for Lamar. I got respect for Coach Erickson. So when they called me, I listened, flew him in. He's been doing a great job for us since he's been here. And he's a teacher is what he is. Sometimes he's verbal vomit, but my man knows how to explain everything. He explains everything.
I told you he could talk. I told you he could talk.
But he explains it thoroughly to the young man. Yeah. That's what's important. He's explained it thoroughly. So I thank you for introducing me to him, Lamar. See, I call you Lamar. You happy? I call you Lamar. You
Man, that means I made it. Hell, that means I made it. That dude called me fast everywhere in the club. You know how embarrassing that is in the club? Fats, you gonna give me a ride home, Fats? Come on, man. I'm trying to talk to these girls, man.
I tell you what, hey, Fats, man, I appreciate you having me on your show, man. Really excited about this, man. Opportunity, you know, with Canes for Life. Anytime you need me on, just give me a call, man. Anytime you need me on your show, all you gotta do is pick up the phone, text, say, I need you to come talk to me. We'll be more than happy to do it for you. You know that.
We appreciate you being on because to hear a head coach talk, I think a lot of fans need to hear what the head coach is going through in his mindset and the decisions he has to make. And for a lot of these people, for a lot of them, they've never coached. They're just fans. And to educate them on what's going on in the coaching game, I think is beautiful.
Let me just leave you with this, Lamar. And I tell people this all the time. I don't get caught up in being a fan. Like what's going on right now in Miami, I don't get caught up in it being a fan because they promised Manny Diaz 5 years. I know people like he needs to go now. No. They promised this man 5 years. I don't want anybody to fire me before my time is up to see if I can do what I said I could do. Now, at the end of my contract, if I haven't done what I said I'm capable of doing it, I need to be fired. But give the guy his time. Let's not wait. It's like every 3 years we'll find somebody. Every 3 years. We didn't give Randy his time, which upset me. Randy Stanley got his time to coach his team and build that team the way he wanted to, but he didn't do it. And now we're trying to get rid of Manny. I'm not saying get rid of the guy. I'm not saying he's the greatest coach in the world. What I'm saying is you hired him for 5 years to get a job done. Let's see if he can get the job done. Let's not just get rid of him.
Hey, Tiger, I'm not upset about them getting rid of Al Golden Showers. I tell you that.
You didn't just say that on, bro. You didn't just say that on air. See, Lamar, that's the kind of
it's okay.
That's the kind of stuff you can't say, Fats. That's what you can't do.
I'm just saying, brother. It's my show.
Hey, Tiger. I think I think Diaz's problem is a combination of Coker to Shannon to Golden to Rick to him. I think the level of people's acceptance of this is a lot lower than it was 10, 12, 15 years ago. He's stuck because of that.
But I'll tell you this, Bruce, it's not a microwave. It's a crock pot. You got to take your time. It's got to be slowly cooked. We can't worry about a microwave. And everything's a microwave inside it. Give the man time. And again, I'm not saying he's doing the greatest job. I'm not saying he's not doing the greatest job. What I'm saying is you hired him for 5 years. Give him 5 years.
I think you're in the minority, my friend.
I know.
Tiger, what? And I'm not saying it's either one.
Gary, wait a minute. I'm in the minority because I'm a head football coach. I don't want to come here for
Yeah, exactly. That's what people don't understand.
I'm doing it because I'm a head football coach. I don't want anybody coming to fire me before I do what I need to do.
Is that why you have a 27-year contract?
I wish it was that long.
I know you do.
Oh, man.
Hey,
Tiger, what? I obviously see all sides of this, and I understand the coach's side, obviously, and we've pointed that out on this show many, many times. We had Hurley Brown on, similar situation. He's a coach, and so many of you guys are coaches. What if a guy just, isn't of the capability of operating that program at the level that program wants to be? I mean, don't you pay forward if you go too many years?
Well, let's say they fired Dabo Swinney when he was interim and he got slapped by West Virginia by 70-something points. Let's say they fired him at that time.
Yeah, that's an example of the other way.
Again, I'm not comparing Manny Diaz to Dabo Swinney. What I'm saying is if they would have got rid of the guy, they would have never seen what he could do. Now, the difference is Clemson wasn't as well known as Miami for winning championships at that time. So I understand the impatience that people have with what Manny Diaz is doing. But what I am saying is give him an opportunity. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, Tiger, one more question.
Absolutely.
Are you as competitive as you were at Hampton? Man, me and Tiger would go at it every day at Hampton. I mean, it was just a Miami thing. It was a Miami thing.
Facts. I was a D coordinator, so I was on defense. I'm the head guy, so I got to stay as neutral as I can.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
If you ask the defense, they think I'm on offense. But if you ask the offense, they think I'm on defense. So, I am as competitive.
Now let me ask you a question. When the defense has a great day, do you say this was a great practice right here? This is one of the greatest practice, like Don Rose. And when the offense has a great day, we got to get better. Man, we are not good today.
Let me ask you a question. This is what I tell people all the time. I never, ever, ever bring the team up after practice. You know why I never bring the team up after practice? Because Coach Johnson never brought us up after practice unless he had something important to say. Coach Johnson only brought us up after practice. Remember, he had Don King at practice one day. Hector Camacho, or he had to tell us something that was important. Coach Johnson never brought us up after practice. And I think that when you bring the guys up and you talk to them too much, they get saturated. They get tired of hearing your voice. And so I never bring them up after practice unless I have something to say.
Wow. My guy. Man, you learned a lot.
Hey, man, Coach Johnson, people always talk about this coach, that coach. Coach Johnson is the guy that I try to model myself behind 100%. I've learned a lot from all the head coaches that I've been under, whether good head coaches or bad head coaches. But everything I do is based on what Coach Johnson believed in. I never talk about championships. I only talk about the process because that's what Coach Johnson talked about, the process of getting it. I never call him up unless it's something important to say. I have a Thursday night meeting, Fats. I have a Thursday night meeting with the guys.
You got quarter pounders? You got quarter pounders?
I got cheeseburgers and McChicken sandwiches.
Hey, boy, it runs deep.
Everything I do is modeled behind what Coach Johnson did. It's one of those things where Coach Johnson is he's one of. I was telling somebody the other day. I don't remember Coach Johnson ever use a profanity with me. He never got in my face and used profanity. He never grabbed me by my face mask. I just knew what he wanted out of me. I knew the desire he had for me. I knew what he wanted me to do. I knew what he expected of me. So that's what the situation for me and Coach Johnson.
Hey, Tiger, you ain't have him in the pros.
Hey, Fats, you know why? Fats, you know why? Because he cut me, Fats. He cut me when I was in the Cowboys. That's why
it was a couple times I wish he would have cut me. And I wanted to swing on him. Hey, man, boy, man. Hey, we are so proud of your success, man, and we're definitely gonna have you. I mean, we don't want to. Hey, the fact that you took the time, and I know you got game plan. Who you guys got this week?
Ironically enough, Hampton. Oh. We got Hampton. We got a Hampton this Saturday. They joined the conference.
Hey, check this out. Beat their brakes off for the president.
we don't even talk about that. Let's not talk about that, Fats.
Hey, shake his hand for me after the game. Shake his hand for me. Hey, love you, brother, man. Thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Great seeing you, Tiger.
Great seeing you, Tiger. And now Gary and I learned something very important from you.
What's that?
Facts.
Y'all can't call me that shit. Y'all can't call me that if y'all ain't been through the fire, dog. Hell no. Love you, Tiger.
Have a great night, guys.
All right, dog.
Hey, Tiger. Oh my God, man!
What a show!
So,
Fats. Never in a million years would I have thought that would be your nickname.
Yeah, it was a joke, man. That's the nickname they gave me as a freshman. And when those guys left, after I started like my sophomore year, I renamed myself. I wouldn't even answer to anybody that called me unless those guys came back. But none of those guys that I played with could call me Fats ever. Not the younger guys. No, it was. I had other nicknames. I Lover L, Skinny the Pimp, LT, but I wasn't going by no Fats. When they left, the Roland Smiths and the Bernard Clarks, Randy Bethels, Leon Searcy, those are the four corporates right there. Those are the four corporates that will not call me Lamar Thomas to this day. They all call me Fats, and I have to take it because I was a freshman.
All right, well, Lamar, Fats, whatever we're calling you now. What he said elicited some reaction from some of the guys watching the show tonight. Terry Hanley respects Manny for wanting to do the right thing, but he just don't have the leadership and knowledge for the job. Dennis Lopez liked what Tiger was saying. Terrence Jefferson, he's had long enough to fail. Get him out of here.
He's at the F out of here.
He's an F out of here.
Brian Brown can't shake the FIU and Louisiana Tech losses.
That's hard to shake, man. That's hard. Right there.
So it's hard, man. It's like you could look at it so many ways, and
Yeah.
it's like, I know I'm torn all the time. I mean, I feel bad for Manny. I feel like Manny was thrown into something that he wasn't ready for, and now he's 3 years into it, and I understand that if the University of Miami keeps going forward with the same thing, that they might end up with the same thing, and it just keeps perpetuating itself. So I don't know, man. I think you just got to see how this plays out.
I feel bad for Manny too, man. I really do, until I think about him going to the bank.
Yeah. The bank's a good place for Manny, no doubt.
Man, hey, man, listen, it is what it is. I got
and Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs is a good friend too.
Jesus, man. I mean, these guys making some hella money.
LD, speaking of money, I think we need you to tell us a little bit about Advanced Insurance and Financial. What do you think?
Yeah, throw it up there. Throw that thing up there, Gary.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
You got to throw it up there. One of our new sponsors. Yeah, throw it up there, Gary.
I'll get it. I'll find it.
You're trying to find it so I can do my deal.
Go ahead. I got it.
You got it? Oh, there we go. Right there. There we go.
A little bit math.
All right.
But...
It's all right. It's all right. Like I got a helmet on. There you go. Are you protected from the unexpected loss to your home due to Mother Nature, like a hurricane, or to your auto due to human nature, of like a car accident? Let Advanced Insurance and Financial Agency help you determine how much and what type of coverage is right for you. Give them a call at 954-436-4027 or visit the website at advancedagent.net for your free personal insurance review so you can ease your worry and relax your mind. How about that? Yeah. And you know why that's important? Because it's my man Ryan Collins, man.
Yep.
My man Ryan Collins, he said he wanted to be a sponsor, and he's doing it big time. So, hey, when you call that number, again, it's 954-436-4027. Ask for Ryan Collins. He's always there.
And tell him Lamar told you to call him.
Yeah, tell him, hey, I'll give you a cell number.
And whatever the discount he can give Lamar, I'll cover the difference. Don't worry.
That's right. and go to All Canes and shop at All Canes and tell Harry that Lamar sent you too.
That's right. He'll have a conversation with you. Harry will talk to you. And don't forget about Crowded. There it is back there.
That's right. The Crowded app. Go to the app store.
Right,
get your Crowded app. No doubt.
Right, for all the events. I stacked my I put a bunch of pictures in there from last weekend's game where we were happy. It was awesome. And seeing other people with their pictures in there of this event on the Crowded app, man, it was awesome. So you can go down and you can see all the people that download the app and their pictures from this momentous day. How about that? Because it was a momentous day.
Yeah, for Manny it was.
And go to Bo Campers in Plantation and tell them you want to eat the chicken wings like Lamar.
The Bo's signature wings right here. See, Daddy, I didn't eat the wings. I'm saving them till I get home because my daddy said they were distracting. I think he's just hungry at night.
And if you're not a subscriber to CaneSort.com, please do. Please join us at CaneSort.com. Hit the like button on this show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get the notices every week when we go on the air. It would be great if everybody could support everybody, and that we're all one big family here of sponsors and participants and everything.
Tyson Hubbard.
We try to make the magic happen on Wednesday night.
Look what Tyson Hubbard said. LT show looking like a minor league outfield wall. You got to pay the bills, man. Come on, baby.
That's
man.
awesome.
I like that, Tyson. I like that. That's
like
cool.
a minor league outfield wall.
Back.
All right, guys. So Pittsburgh Saturday. What do you guys think? LT?
Well, I mean, it is momentum. Hopefully we have some momentum going into this game because before that, we didn't have too much momentum. We had a bunch of close calls where I think the team was still trying to figure out, are we good enough? Yeah, we lost Michigan State, who's a good team. It ended up being a blowout. We beat App State, who turned out to be a pretty decent team. You lose two close ones to some teams that you probably should have beat, but you come back and you beat a team that's ranked, a really good team, and then you got another really good team on the road in looks like maybe some iffy weather. I think you got a shot, but you got to carry that momentum over, and you hope your quarterback still has confidence and everybody else is gaining confidence from what they did last week and up until this moment.
Well, I think the defense is going to have to be really big in this game because Pickett's been lighting everybody up. I read some place where they didn't play that many great teams so far, but he's still really good. He's a big, strong kid. So that's going to be the key to defense. And I'd like to see them get off to a fast start for a change. That would be nice.
Yeah.
LT, that weather's killing me, man. That weather is killing me. I was supposed to play golf Friday at this. They have this golf course up there by Beaver Falls where Jim Kelly grew up called Old Stonebrook. It is unbelievable. I always try to go play there when I go to Pittsburgh. 91% chance of rain and 54 degrees is the high.
You ain't playing.
54. Man, oh well, you're gonna have to cancel that one. But you know what, Gary? Next year, if I'm still right here, Daddy Daycare Transportation, I'm going on these road trips, dog. I'm going on a road trip.
You going to Texas A&M? You going to College Station?
Hey, man, I'm going up there, and I'm going to try not to be sitting beside Gary if they score because you got to kiss the next person. So
they're crazy.
Hopefully I sit by a wall or something, kiss the wall or something. But I got to go next year, man. This sounds like fun. It'll be fun to go up there. I remember going up there to Pitt, and I was a redshirt freshman. We played them not in Heinz Field. We played them at the old Pitt Stadium, and it was very gray and but you saw the ghost of Ironhead Haywood and Tony Dorsett and Dan Marino. You saw all these great players, Spindler. You saw these great players that their names are up there. We kicked their butt, but it was a great venue. It was a great atmosphere, great football atmosphere. Pittsburgh, they love their football. So this is going to be a good game for them. This is going to be a good game, but I think Miami is going to have a great opportunity to go up there and, it's weird to say this, but pull the upset.
I agree. I agree. And then this whole world down here is going to be in total upheaval because there's been this assumption that Manny's getting fired and Blake's getting fired and the whole athletic department is going to get a nuclear reboot that it maybe needs, Lamar. I mean, we'll talk about that in the coming weeks. But if they beat Pittsburgh and get a second win in a row with the games they got coming after it that are all very winnable, it's not inconceivable that this team could put together a run here at the end of the year that throws the whole thing upside down. So, and if they run the table, I think they might postpone that nuclear reboot. So we'll see.
And if they lose, then they're 1-3. It's over. Right. They can't catch Pitt. Right.
Yeah. If they lose, it's
all right. Well, I have a trial in Palm Beach tomorrow morning.
Hey, Bruce, we're going to let you go.
You guys.
We're going to play a little word association. We'll see you next week, Bruce.
Be safe, Bruce. Be safe.
All right, LT.
All right, let's do it.
Take it home with a little word association here.
All right, what we got?
All right. Win.
Win is a win. And last week was a win. It was a definite win. But this week, you need this win. Because I think stringing 2 wins together over 2 ranked opponents, it throws out what happened early in the season. It shows the growth of the team. It shows because we're always talking about they don't give up the fight. They've lost some tough ones, but I think it helps them down the line this year and for the next year. You pull an upset of 2 ranked teams, man. That's a pretty big one. And it kind of throws. I wouldn't say it throws it out what happened early in the season, but it kind of puts a little Band-Aid over it a little bit.
Does it give a false sense to the overall picture, like Cane for Life here just posted?
It will, but if they're able to win this game, man, I mean, it's a building stone. This is a big game. We say this every week because of the situation that Manny's in. We say it every week. But this is a big game because if he can somehow pull this upset against a team that it's right there for the taking, if he can pull this upset, it puts him back in some type of good graces with, I'd say, not all people, but a lot of people.
Maybe better graces, yeah.
Yeah, better graces. There you go.
I mean, it still doesn't, change the fact that you're not competitive at all.
Yeah.
In the real big game that you played,
and you lost FIU,
yeah,
and Louisiana Tech, and it just keeps going on and on.
Yeah. So we got to, yeah. I mean, I see both sides of it.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think. I obviously, I see what the big picture, but let's see what happens, and we'll talk more about it. All right, Pat Narduzzi.
Woo, Pat Narduzzi. His defenses play physical. When I was at Louisville, we took Lamar Jackson up there and we lost to him 45-34, and they were physical, man. I mean, they play a physical brand of football, and they developed this defense over the years. I think when they were at Oregon State, they kind of devised this defense, and they are physical. You're going to see everybody in the box, a lot of guys in the box, press coverage on the outside. There's going to be a big opportunity, cover 4 on the outside, but it's going to be huge opportunities for the receivers to make plays downfield. And in the slot, a lot of times they have their safeties covering the slot receivers. So this might be a breakout game for number 3, number 7, all those guys that play in the slot. They might have a big day, but I look for those guys. If Rambo can have another big game down the field, it'll put their defense in a because they have it. You're not going to run the ball. It's hard to run the ball with all those guys in the box. The safeties you're going to see the safeties playing down low. They're preparing for that run, and they're saying, let's play the percentages, and let's see if you can complete the deep ball. And they make it very hard on you.
All right, Rooster.
Rooster. Well, see that nickname, that name in itself, that's worse than Fats, man. The Rooster. I mean, how long has he been called that? I mean, I guess it's a good thing because the little roosters hop around the pen, and it's hard to catch them. They spike you and cock-a-doodle-doo and all that other stuff. But that's a weird nickname. But you know what? He can have all the nicknames he wants. He can keep Rooster. If he have another performance like he had last week, if we can get the ball to him in space, and he's a guy that he's a threat to take it all the way at any point. Obviously, in the run game, I think it's going to be hard to run on Miami, but if he can find a crease, he's going to outrun everybody. And if we can get him in the short passing game, he'll do well too. So, Rooster, let's go, my friend. You're not a chicken. You're a rooster.
Kenny Pickett.
The kid only has 1 interception on the year. 1 interception. One interception. Now, here's a prime example of a guy coming back for this year. He could have come out, but he came back and look at what he's done. He's improved his stats, his chance to be a high draft pick. Unlike the kid from North Carolina, that kid is going down. Howell, he's going down, but Pickett has improved his stats, man. And I think he's one of those guys that those pro scouts are looking at right now.
Yeah, he's having one heck of a year. Last but not least, take us home with Manny Diaz.
Let me take a drink on that. Hold on. Whew, Manny, come on, dog. I sent Manny a message before the game. I don't know if he's reading it or not, but he acts like he's reading it. I said, hey, man, hey, coach, just let him have fun out there. Play fast and loose, and just let them have fun. And I think this is what you got to do this week, too. Those guys that looked like they were having fun out there on Saturday night. Those other weeks, they didn't look like they were having fun. They looked like they were having fun on Saturday. If he takes those kids up there and somehow can convince them to do the same thing and come out with a victory, it could change his program. But we'll see. This is up to we'll see. And we will see, Manny, what you got. Hopefully, because I'm going to be pulling for the University of Miami to win a ball game. And if it's helping save your job, then so be it. If it's not, then so be it too. But we need you to get these guys to play well and try to win this damn ball game. Come on, Manny.
All right, LT. Another great show, man.
Yeah, man.
It was great. Father Leo, thank you. Tiger Clark, thank you. Kenny Kelly, thank you. Charleston Rambo, thank you.
Yep.
Hey, boy, does that kid ooze confidence, huh, Lamar? I mean, he oozes it, man.
He's a receiver. He's
got
definitely a
the
receiver.
goods,
I guarantee if I would have asked him, "Are you open right now?" He said 24/7, like 7-Eleven, all day, baby, all day.
Yeah, he is. That's how he is, man. It's going to be interesting to see where his career goes.
Yeah.
What advice he gets at the end of the season. But
couple good games in a row. Who knows?
They'll notice him. Yeah.
Who knows?
All right. Once again, we want to thank all of our sponsors: Advanced Insurance and Financial, All Canes, Bow Campers, Plantation. Thank you guys for watching the Lamar Thomas Show. Oh, let's remember Crowded. That's right. Yep. Max will be mad at us if we don't keep mentioning that Crowded app. Crowded, they got a lot of big things coming up too that we'll be talking about in the weeks ahead here that are kind of interesting. And so thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. And we'll be back next Wednesday with more. And I'm getting on the plane tomorrow night for Pittsburgh. Really annoyed that I don't get to play golf.
Don't take your golf club. Don't take your golf clubs.
I don't travel with clubs anyway. I rent them. That's too much of a hassle.
You that guy.
I'll tell you, man, if that rain lets up for a few hours, I will be there. Old Stonebrook in Beaver Creek, Pennsylvania. Anybody that wants to join, I'll see you in the clubhouse. Otherwise, I'll see you at Heinz Field on Saturday for the few people that I think will be making this trip. LT will be in touch. Thank you to everybody. And, we'll see you next Wednesday.
Go Canes.